Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations in Horror, the podcast. I'm your host, Kevin L. Powers. I'm also the owner operator of Something Wicked Entertainment and Events, and I want to welcome you to my program in which I discuss an individual horror film from any decade and any different subgenre, and then me and a special guest will sit down, discuss it, conversate about the movie, and generally have a really good time. I'm already laughing and having a good time because the movie we're talking about today is a lot of fun, and we do hope that you have a lot of fun listening to us talk about it. So I'm going to let you know about the people I'm bringing in on the show today, which are Mr. Thomas Tinarella and Mr. Dave Watkins. Thank you guys for joining me on this conversation as we talk about Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead from 1994.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin. Oh, I'm sorry. Do it again. Do it again.
Oh, I can't believe Dave was the one that did that this time, whereas you've been doing it the last couple times, Thomas.
Yeah, and he did it so well that I think Zoom audio conked it out.
Probably. But we do hope that you are listening. When you're listening to this, you realize that what we are doing this month is we are doing our franchise month. So we're releasing episodes on every film within a given franchise. And so not only do you get to listen to us talk about Phantasm 3 in this podcast episode, but you can go back and listen to us talk about the previous films in other podcast episodes that are being released today. So we do hope that you do that. But let us start with this film. I know that both of you, or I'm assuming both of you, are kind of fans of the franchise. So I do want to get an idea of when you first saw the film and kind of your impressions on this film particularly. And we'll start off with you, Mr. Thomas.
Yes, Kevin L. Powers. And we Phantasm fans go by fans with a PH. So yes, I am a Phantasm fan. And I've told people several times on this podcast that even though Evil Dead 2 is my favorite horror movie of all time, the Phantasm franchise is my favorite franchise of all time. I think it stands head and shoulders above those freaking Friday the 13th movies, above those freaking, Halloween movies, with the exception of the first one. And definitely stands head and shoulders above the Freddy Krueger movies. There's many reasons for that, most of which has to do with the consistency of the characters. And this one's a very character-driven movie, I think, especially the next one, too. But we'll get into that when we get into that. I don't think I ever actually saw this installment all the way through until I finally bought this nice price-to-own Blu-ray box set of all 5 movies. Which came out right at the time when the first movie was remastered by Bad Robot and J.J. Abrams' his company. J.J. Abrams, incidentally, is a huge fan of Phantasm, so much so that he named a Star Wars character in Force Awakens after the movie. Captain Phasma is actually named that way because of the chrome exterior. She looks like one of the chrome spheres of death, so that's why she is Phasma. Because he's such a Phantasm fan as I am.
Yeah, they really did right by that character too.
Yeah, well, she did get her own, I think, animated thing or a comic book at least. So
yeah.
There's that. But
in the next movie, they just pretty much killed off all the bad guys. It's just let's just kill them all off.
Well, that was Ryan Johnson's thing. JJ wasn't directing that one.
Yeah,
but we won't dwell on that. But anyway, so I think the first time I ever saw any inclination this movie even existed was I think I was in a video store years ago, back in the 90s. It must have been the late 90s because I must have been in high school at the time.
Sometime after 1994, I would assume.
Well, yeah, because that's when it was released. I was still in middle school in 94. So I didn't start high school until 96 or something. But anyway, 97. So I did see this poster for Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. And I'd already known about the first one. And I'd already seen trailers for the second one. And oh my gosh, there's a third one already. Ooh, that's called Lord of the Dead. It must be interesting. But I didn't see any hide nor hair of it. I didn't see any trailers for it. I didn't see any clips for it or anything. I just knew that it existed. And then, of course, we'll get into that later. But I did also see the cover for part 4, and that was all the Phantasms that you had for a long, long time. So I didn't end up seeing this in its entirety until I bought the box set and then watched it and then realized that, I mean, I had read reviews of it in like Video Hound, Golden Movie Retriever that gave Phantasm 3 like 1 point, like 1.5 bones out of 5. I'm like, and I finally saw it and I'm like, what are they talking about? This movie is great. This movie is hilarious. This movie is bonkers. It's probably the most bonkers of all the Phantasms, and I love it for that. This movie doesn't give a crap. This movie just goes for it, and it's just so crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you,
Right.
Dan?
Yeah. So kind of similar. I rented it from wherever it was, Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or whatever. But I knew about it beforehand. I don't know how I knew about it, but I know it got a limited theatrical run, but no one knew it was in the theater. It was very limited. This is more or less a direct to video sequel to Phantasm 2. But I was a big fan of 1 and 2 before this one, and I liked it. I rented it. I liked it. I had a lot of people, several friends who were into horror at the time, thought it was like pretty bad, but I thought it was fun. Um, I thought it was a little cheaper looking, even though there's more on screen as far as the special effects. It was a lot more of it, but I did feel a little cheaper than the other ones, but it was still. I thought it was very somewhat coherent. When I tried to watch the next one, which when we get into that one, I might have a better appreciation for it. But I had some problem trying to watch the fourth one, which I've never finished that one. Like Thomas never finished this one.
Oh,
Yeah. But I'll maybe my point of view would be different when I go into watching it. But I actually thought this one was a pretty easy watch when I watched it the first time, and had some very interesting. The way that it's written, like it goes pretty fast. It's like one crazy sequence after another for the most part. It doesn't really let up that much for character development. So
all right. So, yeah, I guess I am the person here who knew directly about this movie when it came out. So much so that my neighborhood video store, who I was really good friends with the owners, allowed me to get a early release copy of this. So at video stores, before they actually gave the release at the actual video stores, they would give films that they weren't sure would sell to early to video stores to kind of entice them to buy copies of the movies. They had a copy of this and didn't know what to do with it, so they gave it to me because they knew how much of a freak I was about horror movies. So I got to see this before it was actually released in all the video stores as an early, one of those early release tapes, and I actually had it for it. They actually gave it to me when they closed the store. They gave me a whole bunch of them. They closed their store and they gave me a whole bunch of them. And I had it in my collection for like years before I finally got rid of it. But I always remember that because I always wished I had seen this one at the theater because of how much I love the second one. And I always told you guys my relationship with this has been kind of weird because I always loved the poster for the second one, which got me interested in the entire franchise. I went back, found the first one just in time to see the second one. I don't really care for the poster for this one.
It
Love
is
the
kind of
movie.
yeah.
Love the movie. Have never liked this poster.
What's up with
Yeah.
the poster? It looks all psychedelic and just like really cheap. I don't know.
It does, and I did know, and there's a huge difference in quality coming from the second movie to this film. They are a much different beast, but because I was such a huge fan of zombie films, seeing zombies in this film like
Yeah.
they are used in this film and like none of the other films, I actually really, really love this film. And for the longest time, this was one of my favorites to watch. Over the years, it's kind of lessened because I kind of every time I rewatch the franchise, I kind of see more critical stuff about all the movies. So the third and fourth one don't hold up nearly as well for me as the first and second one. But I still have a lot of fun watching this third film every time I put it in. I will not know. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first one in the entire franchise where you really do get what Simon Pegg and Nick Frost would probably call proper zombies. Because even though they're not slow zombies, they are proper zombies in the sense that they are full-sized humans with rotting flesh, and they do attack people, and they are somewhat invincible. Even shooting them in the head doesn't work.
Well, no, that's the problem with the zombies. They kind of get all kind of fucked up and then just come right back.
Well, I think they have to have a spirit in their head for them to be able to function, though, don't they? So,
Well, not necessarily because that's something we'll get into as we watch it. But
Yeah, this
this
one.
is also the first time, the first installment of the franchise where you actually get to see, you take a peek behind the curtain
Yeah.
into the tall man's operation, thanks to the spirit, quote unquote, of Jody from Phantasm One, who has now been turned into a spear
yeah,
by the tall man, and he guides them, guides Mike at one point into the lab, and you actually get to see how a dwarf, or should I say, zombie Jawa, is created. And what he shows them is, and we'll give you a little. I'll just go ahead and say it as a little
Go ahead.
preview for what's to come. He basically says that he cuts the the skull open, having shrunk the body down. I assume with chemicals and gravity from the red dimension, and I guess he brings them back, and then he removes the brain and leaves just the barest essentials of the cerebral stem. All that's left is just like instinct, like the reptile brain, basically. That's what the dwarfs are running on, is pure reptile brain. And the little squishiness that's left, he takes that and puts it inside the sphere. So essentially, when he creates a zombie Jawa, he is creating two separate zombies. He's creating the little guys that are basically his grunt troopers, and then he's creating the Sentinel Spears, which is the first time we ever hear that term. And basically, the Sentinel Spear, which blew my mind when I first saw it, is really a cyborg zombie. It is a machine that is piloted by the brain, or the shrunken brain of the person that the dwarf was.
Mhm.
It's so wild. And you see him
yeah,
putting it in. In fact, at one point, you see him opening it up and like stroking the brain matter, like he's petting it, like it's a little mouse or something,
yeah.
when he's in his throne chair.
Yeah, it's interesting that it explains a lot of that sort of thing because it kind of takes away some mystery from everything, but it is also cool to see it. So it's kind of hard call because the first one's very creepy and very atmospheric, but this
Yes.
one kind of keeps some of that. But overall, it feels like I guess you kind of needed it by the time you got to this one because this one
Oh, yeah.
is just
Yeah.
just one like set piece of effects after another. That's what people really like the two scenes in the first one that were just like really kind of like it's pretty much the two scenes from the first movie that were like balls to the wall. Like this movie's mostly that for most of the running time. Maybe like 15 or 20 minutes of not that, but most of it is that, you know?
Oh, yeah. I would say this is the
Yeah.
one, and I guess Ravager might be a little more, but I think this is the one in the franchise that is the most like an action movie. This is the one where Coscarelli kind of changed the genre of it, where to the point where it's almost not a horror movie anymore. It's really just an action sci-fi movie
Yeah.
with horror tropes in it, and maybe one or two jump scares. But for the most part, this is an action movie with car chases and shootouts and monsters scurrying around that you try to blow up, and freaking like thieves, criminals, and we haven't even discussed the Home Alone
Yeah.
House of Horrors
Yeah.
that they see
Yeah.
there. It's
Yeah,
so
the Home Alone
much.
part was I definitely would not saw this identified with that character because he was kind of similar in age to I was at the time, the Tim character. But it's also like that was it Deadly Games Home Alone kid. It's kind of like that
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
But a little even more skilled than that kid was in Deadly Games. But it's actually kind of impressive the way what he does, especially in the house sequence when he's defending his
Oh
house.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, that is the one part of this movie that told me very early that this movie is going to blow my mind, and it blew my
Really?
mind. And it
Well,
blew my mind because I was
yeah.
not expecting
Yeah.
that at all.
The
This
kid's pretty
Tim
hardcore. Yeah. It's
Tim, yeah, Tim. Tim is the most lethal child in the history of cinema. He really
yeah. But
is.
surprisingly though, like it does I always thought that scene was closer to the beginning, but it's almost like 20 or 30 minutes into the film before
Yeah.
that
Oh
happens
yeah,
because it's that's one thing that's weird about this film because Mike was kind of he was the protagonist of Phantasm 2. Here he's in the first like 20 or 30 minutes and then he's
Go
gone
on.
for the middle half and then he appears like 30 minutes before the end, but once he comes back he doesn't feel like he's part of the group anymore. The group seems to have gone on without
Yeah.
him. It's really odd once he rejoins the group. It's like he's kind of like doesn't fit in anymore.
No,
Yeah, it's
because
really
we've seen the
sad.
other characters so much.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we've seen the other characters so much that, and he's not part of most of that action. I think in this film, I see Mike as kind of like character who is kind of creating all the background and the information that by the third film, Coscarelli believes that audiences want more of the story and the reasoning behind what the explanation for everything. That's why it's so
Yeah.
much in this film.
they made Reggie the protagonist for sure
Mhm.
in this one.
Oh yeah,
They moved to him.
definitely
Yeah, yeah.
this one's definitely Reggie's dream.
Yeah, yeah.
If we take, I think this one, this one's Reggie's dream, and Phantasm 4 is Mike's dream, and definitely 5 is also is Reggie's dream again. But if you're going to take that interpretation of it, but man, I feel like now that I think about it, I feel like they damsel Mike. I feel like
They do. Yeah,
he's the damsel in distress of this movie.
yeah. That's a
See,
good way to
I
describe
don't
it.
see him
Yeah.
as I see him as the Bruce Campbell Ash character, the bumbling character.
Oh no, I'm talking about
Oh.
Mike. Mike is the
Yeah,
damsel.
Mike, because
Reggie.
they have to go save him. You know.
Yeah,
so-
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike's
Yeah.
the damsel. Mike's the damsel, and Reggie is the Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
He's full on Bruce Campbell of the. Although I feel like he's much more Campbellish in part 2 because he gets to do a little bit more in part 2, and he gets
he gets
assaulted more in part 2.
I know he gets to use that gun a lot more in this one, which we talked about.
Yeah.
He threw it away in the other one, and then suddenly they're like, "Yeah, it's just back." It's
It materializes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
with bullets and ammo too.
It has,
loaded.
he has the
Fully loaded.
shells.
How did that
he has,
happen?
yeah, he has the
I don't
shells.
know.
Like Mike now has the shells, but before they were like on the ground. But
They're on the ground.
yeah, they kind of like basically went back and then they changed a few things about the other one just to make this one like so they
Cooler.
could keep the items. Yeah, they wanted to keep the items they wanted to keep. It's weird the way like it starts off like most of them, like the other ones, especially the second one does, with a lot of flashbacks from the first 2 films,
hmm
and then with new footage incorporated into the flashback. Because James LeGros played Mike in the second one, suddenly they actually incorporated a Michael Baldwin back into some of the footage.
Yeah.
It is
And
a
then
little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I will say it's a little weird for that one brief shot where Michael Baldwin's face is looking out the hearse window, wearing James LeGros's clothes and having his hairstyle. That's a little weird, but I was okay with it.
Yeah, but then they kill off Liz, who's pretty
That pissed me
brutally,
off.
and they not only kill her off, but they kill her off in a brutal way. The dwarf's like eating her face.
I
Which you've never
know.
seen.
Yeah,
That is so
It is-
terrible. I hate that so much.
Yeah, but I hate to say this, with each subsequent Phantasm films, they kill off everybody who's not a main character with the beginning of each film. Or
Au contraire. Au contraire, Kevin. Spoilers, ladies and gentlemen, but that is not true about one of the characters that comes on board, and we'll talk about her later. She doesn't die.
yeah.
In fact,
she doesn't come back in the next film either.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't, but she comes back in Phantasm 5.
Well, they bring back everybody in Phantasm 5 though. But they get rid of Tim in the 4th movie. They get rid of you don't see those characters again.
I know.
They
But
stick with the main characters.
Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of female characters coming back, did you guys notice that there's a very specific female character who's back in this movie? In the very beginning, when Mike is in the hospital and he's got the tubes and everything coming out of his, but this is before he has his vision. With the nurse practitioner, it's the lady in lavender. Same actress. Yes. That is her. That is Kathy Lenz.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you think about it, it's probably the tall man as the lady in lavender, keeping an eye on Mike, making sure he fully recovers so that he can have his way with it.
That one.
They didn't go back with the sexual stuff in this one like they did in the first one. They like the second one they definitely got rid of it with the tall man turning into the lady in lavender, but it's gone in this one too for the most part.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that's true, and I agree, it's a good thing. But I don't think that he was trying to seduce Mike as Lady in Lavender. I think he was being maternal towards him because this is the movie in which really crystallizes that. It's suggested in part 1 and a little bit in part 2, but part 3, Coscarelli really went for it from the beginning of this one because the tall man really wants Mike, and Reggie is full on his protector, and to the point where the tall man's closing on him and the dwarves are closing on him, and Reggie has a wonderful moment where he shoots. Right? There's dwarves close all around him. They're like monkeys in the trees around him, and he puts the quad shotgun up in the air, shoots, and they just fall from the trees like grapefruits, which is hilarious.
Right before that too, he kills another dwarf shotgun to the face and blows his whole face off.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But that it's very similar to when in the second one where he kills all the dwarfs on the stairs. Like it's also kind of comical when that happens. Like kind of similar to him just shooting it randomly into the damn trees and then they all fall down. Like in Arachnophobia when all the spiders fall down in the rainforest. You know.
Yes. He's now an expert at the quad shotgun, but he's got a grenade. And he pulls out that grenade when the tall man's surrounding him, and he has nowhere he can go. And he's just like, 8 seconds to hell. And tall man's like, I don't want him in pieces. And he's like, well, that's the only way you're going to get him. Play your game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I could wait.
It's like, yeah. And I mean, that was such an odd thing, too. The tall man's like, all right, I guess it's out. We'll walk away. And I mean, really, they could have just waited for him to put the grenade up and then come back and snag it, Mike. But but it's just kind of it's funny because when I was watching that sequence, which this is all like the same night as the end of part 2. Mm-hmm. This is like 6 minutes into the film, and I was like, wow, this is awesome sequence, but it's like going on for like a really long time. And then right when I thought this is awesome, and it's been like a lot longer than I expected, then Tallman's like, all right, we're leaving. It's like they leave him and the troop of dwarfs leave, and that's it. To go to the hospital.
And he's carrying off poor Liz's head like it's a shopping bag.
Yeah. He does have Liz's head. It's so funny that how the way they treat that character is just so gruesome.
What's even worse? I know, right? What's even worse is if the head is still intact. That leads us to believe that the tall man, if he's taking her head, he's probably going to turn her brain into a sphere.
Yeah. Well,
which is really sad.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, but
she's special. Now she's special as a spiritual sphere, just like Jody is. Jody has no body; he's just a sphere.
We see, like, after that, we see the hospital, and then the doctor says to Reggie, still no change. We don't know how long the he's been there.
No.
Yeah, but it had to be a while. You know how I know that? Because later on, when Mike wakes up, he's like, I got something at the house.
He's got a house all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a house.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, Reggie. What? Did you? Because we go to the house. It looks nothing like the bed and breakfast that they were staying in Phantasm 2. And it looks a little bit more like the house that Reggie had at the end in Phantasm 1, but it can't be that because that got blown up. So this
I think it's supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look like I think it's supposed to look like that. It does look exactly like that interior wise, but not when we see the exterior of it. No, it looks like a cabin.
It's hard to
in the middle of the woods.
They kind of choose like some continuity, and then others they kind of take back to make it more convenient for this movie. It could have been a long time, or it could have been the house never blew up in this one.
I don't know. I think the house blew up because we were very clear, at least Coscarelli was trying to be clear, that because of the studio interference from Dino De Laurentiis, that 90% of Phantasm 2 did happen. There's no dream sequences. This one we get a little further. We actually do get some dream sequences, but the stuff that happens in the dream sequences directly affects reality. Unlike some other ones before.
We know that his house blew up and his wife and his child died.
Right.
That's right. They do have the picture. He does have the picture of his family. Yeah.
Yes, we finally get to see them. We finally see them.
Yeah.
We don't see them at all. But but going back to the house thing, clearly this is telling us that Mike had to have been in that coma for at least 3 months or so, however long it took for him to maybe get a job and get a down payment or get some. I think he's living in a rental. I think that's what it is. I think Reggie rented a house in that town that they were in Phantasm 2, just so he could be close to Mike. And God only knows what he was doing because he doesn't have his ice cream truck anymore.
He has a lot of money though.
That's another thing I'm freaking on. I was every time he flashes out all those hundreds in this movie, I'm like, where? I wrote down, where is he getting all his money? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Well, maybe he got it as an insurance money from the house and all his family. Ooh. Maybe they had an insurance policy and the house blew up. And
I never thought
from that. Yeah,
that never bothered me. I just knew that he had money from whatever he did, and we don't always
selling ice cream. That's how you get rich.
that was his business. He could have a whole fleet of ice cream trucks out there working for him right now. You just don't know. He just takes the money and runs.
But so in between the two hospital sequences, we see the tall man in a very bizarre place. He's in a lair of some sort with all these friggin' candles.
Yeah, that's when we see that.
Yeah, you see the little tiny. That's when we see a tiny brain inside of a spear. It almost looks like an Easter egg. He opens the spear up and it's got a little tiny brain in there,
And he strokes it with his thumb.
Yeah. And he's got like a throne chair. He's just hanging out.
And it's got candles. So many candles. It's like as the camera was zooming in on him sitting in that chair like an emperor, I kept thinking, all I could think of was, and I would do anything for love. It felt like a Meatloaf music video.
Yeah, it's funny because that's the only time it showed.
Growing up, that never really bothered me, but when I was rewatching it for the podcast, I was like, "This is odd."
You're like, they really need the Meatloaf song in this scene, is what you're thinking, right?
I wasn't thinking about the Meatloaf song. No, I was just thinking it was odd. I mean, that's essentially how they start the movie off. They start the movie off with him, the tall man, in this lair of his, and I'm like,
Right. It starts off with like a close up of the ball itself, and that's something we didn't talk about how
his reflection.
The tall man died at the end of the other one, but here we actually see how he's brought back. He is actually not the same tall man. When we talked about there being more than one tall man before, he actually comes back out of that space gate, picks up his old dead body, and throws it back into the space gate. And he looks different too. His hair's like a lot whiter than it was in the second one.
Yeah, I think that's maybe how Coscarelli intended to cover the fact that he's supposed to be playing this immortal undead Lord of the Dead, and Angus Scrimm is getting older. So I guess he had to figure out a way to justify the fact that the tall man, who is this immortal undead king of the undead, is aging. So I guess the idea is, and this is kind of the first mystery about the tall man, where this thing I love about this movie is that sometimes it answers a question while also asking two more questions. Like, okay, this explains how he keeps coming back. What it doesn't explain is, where are all the other tall man bodies coming from?
It also explains why J.J. Abrams likes the movie so much.
Because the tall man came back somehow.
Because not just that. Because, but just as like in Lost, he was always like introduce a new. He basically you would solve a mystery by adding more mysteries by the explanation, and it's like the same sort of thing here, where it's just like the tall man comes out of the space gate, and it's like, how many more are there, and how often can he do that? Is it the same tall man regenerated? Is there a time issue?
Did you ever ask that question when you watched it? I never asked that question in '94 when I originally saw the movie, and not subsequently. Maybe now, but my ideal now is that he was just an indestructible. He has one body. He throws. If it dies, he throws it back in the other one, and that's how he just keeps showing back up after we all think he's dead at each individual movie. Like you
really think it's one though? It's like one thing, one entity?
I've always just thought it's just one, not like there's 50 of them roaming around.
But no, I don't know if they could all be. I mean, he can clearly be in the same spot at one time though, because he comes in, picks up the other body, and then throws it into the thing. But we also find out this tall man's got a spear in his head too later on in this film.
Yeah, he literally does have his own. I think it's a golden sphere too, but that's getting way ahead of ourselves.
A big one. Yeah, I was just saying. Or I just bring that up because I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't see any evidence that there's more than one at one time, but I just don't know if I don't
Wait,
know if he's a entity himself or something else is controlling the tall
Dave,
man.
Dave, all I can say about that is wait till Phantasm 5.
Yeah, yeah. Or
It's
maybe,
there's so many. I was actually thinking about this earlier, and when I was like having a shower in the morning, I kept thinking about all the different theories about what the tall man could be in terms of his multiplicity. And I do think it's very telling when he's got that scene with the priest in Phantasm 2, where he's like, "You think when you die you go to heaven, but really you come to us." And
yeah,
the first level of that is you thinking, oh, he's talking about him and his Ford. But no, I think he means it to say us as in me, the legion that I am. That I think really the tall man's consciousness is a multiple legion of things. I think it's like, yeah, he's like legion. They're all
yeah.
connected by some kind of hive mind.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. That was kind of what I was getting at. That's what I think is going on too. I do want to point out that quote you just said was originally in the first movie, but they cut it out. So it's not something. Yeah, it's not something
Oh,
that
really?
was like he put it in the second one because it's such an awesome quote. But there's actually a deleted scene from the first film where they shot that before.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not surprised now I think about it because when I understand they deleted a ton of stuff
yeah.
from the first movie, and some
oh,
of it was discovered and put in the fourth movie. But
yeah.
we'll get into that when we get into that. Oh, before we move on though, from the beginning of this movie, I feel like we should talk about the players of this ultimate game. We have two new players we've vaguely mentioned in our Phantasm world. We're going to introduce Gloria Lynn Henry as Rocky, who is probably my favorite Phantasm friend, my favorite new friend that they get. Side
Companion, if you
character.
like a Doctor Who companion, you know.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah. She's kind of like a Doctor Who companion. She'd be the most badass Doctor Who companion ever. But
Yeah. It's
she,
yeah, yeah. Some hilarity too. The scenes with her and
That's
Reggie.
what
It's
there's a lot of hilarity with some of the scenes with her, especially when she relies too much on them nunchucks, uh,
yeah,
which seemed very, very, very useless for most of this film. Um,
yeah,
it,
yeah,
did. I like the nunchucks though.
yeah, yeah. It's funny when they break and then he fixes them. You know,
She's kind of
it's a cool character though. I like the character.
Oh yeah, so she gets discovered when Reggie is going to a mausoleum in search of Mike because Mike has been abducted by the tall man who refuses to answer Mike's question like why do you want me? And they just go through a space gate that materialized out of nowhere in Reggie's rental question mark and
Yeah,
left a big old burn mark on his in his hallway, which he makes a statement about. But he finds this lady named Rocky, this African American lady, and another lady named DeAndre, I think is her name,
Tanisha,
and Denisha, yes, and they're Tanisha, right? Sorry, Tanisha, and they are both wearing army pants, and Gloria has this. Sorry, I mean Rocky. Rocky has this glorious flat top haircut, and they are just there in that mausoleum. And then here comes the sphere of death coming around, and it drills right into poor Tanisha's head, and she dies.
She's there.
And
They're there for a reason too, by the way. If you didn't
oh
catch,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, because the same thing that's happened to everyone else happened to them. They're there to see in search of their family members that have gone missing.
yeah,
Sees them there.
yeah.
So
And in case
that's a reoccurring theme that happens to a lot of the characters.
right again
So
and again. And by the way, in case y'all out there in podcast land were wondering, and you haven't seen this movie, or you have seen this movie and you've always thought in the back of your mind, I wonder why Tanisha, what their relationship is. Yes, all of your suspicions are confirmed in Don Coscarelli's anthology fictions. Yes, Tanisha was in fact Rocky's girlfriend.
interesting. I still have to read that. So
Yeah, it's a good story. They had a secret love affair in the army, and yeah, they came back to they came back to Rocky's hometown basically to find their families, and she didn't come back. So sad. But anyway, that also explains why one of the many reasons why Rocky is not at all interested in Red.
Yeah, yeah. That makes much more sense now.
The next, oh, by the way, it doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Gloria Lynn Henry, this was like pretty much her first movie. She went on to star in actual classics like The Horse Whisperer with Robert Duvall. Sorry, not Robert Duvall. Robert Redford. God rest him. Yep. And then she also was in The Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves. And she's still making movies every now and then. She did one last year called Southern Nightmare, which is about two young things who get chained up by killer rednecks in rural Georgia, which of course happens all the time in this great state.
I can't see why.
She hasn't really done that much acting. You can't see why? Oh yeah.
No, I must say
she hasn't really done that much.
Georgia has a bad rep of having way too many hillbillies killing minorities in the backwoods. Oh my
God. Yeah. It looks interesting though. I kind of want to see it. She hasn't really done that much acting outside of these movies though, because apparently she has a children's theater program that she runs. And she does the occasional horror conventions, which of course we Phantasm fans love her for. So Gloria Lynn Henry, God bless you. And next up is Kevin Connors as Tim, the world's most lethal boy. This was his first movie too. He went on to star as Bud in Pleasantville, which people may out there remember as the movie where Tobey Maguire and Reese Witherspoon gets sucked into a black and white TV show.
Awesome movie. It's also got William H. Macy and Jeff Daniels in it.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
They have a new 4K of that coming out from Scream Factory.
They
released
time.
it. They released it. They announced it last month, but it's a Shout Select, so it should be pretty cool.
Oh, cool. Good. Glad to hear that. I don't think I've seen that since I saw it in the theaters when it came out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great movie.
I like that movie a lot. But yeah, I saw it probably 3 times. I think I saw it in the theater, and then I bought like a DVD or VHS. And
same here.
Yeah, it came on like TV some too.
Yeah, I'm sure if I watched it again, I instantly recognized Kevin Connors. Like, oh, that is the boy from Phantasm.
I didn't realize he was in that movie. Who's he play? Who's he playing in Pleasantville?
A character named Bud.
Oh, because he's not. Yeah, because Tobey Maguire is like the main kid, and then Reese Witherspoon. Yes.
Yeah, the one with Paul Walker in it too.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, but also, so Kevin Connors did have 2 starring roles. Who could forget his amazing turn as Tommy in Harry the Hendersons, the TV series?
Oh,
yeah. There was a TV series that went for 3 seasons. Apparently, the actor was it Peter Baker Hall, I think.
Yeah. Kevin Peter Hall.
Kevin Peter Hall. Yeah. He passed away after they did the first season. He's the one who played Harry in the movie too.
Yeah.
But I've never seen the series though. But it's
I did.
The movie's awesome though.
The movie's awesome. I saw the show. It's the
that's why it's the movie ends so great that it's kind of weird that they kind of took it back on it.
I know, right?
That time period, dude, they made shows of random weird ass shows like Weird Science, the TV show, and fucking what was that? Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show. And that was the time period, dude.
Yeah. They're doing it now though. They're making like the shows out of anything now. They're making like a Angel Heart show. Like Angel Heart. It's like what? Angel Heart with like Mickey Rourke and Robert De Niro film.
They're going back to the source material and making a show, and I was like, oh my god, this is so freaking weird.
Who the heck is doing Angel Heart the series? What?
I don't know. They're doing it though. I mean, it's.
Oh my god!
I don't know. But yeah, so I'm saying they're making random like shows. It's a little bit different now. Like they make an Alien show, they make a Predator.
That makes sense though. That makes sense, though.
Like an It show. I mean, kinda, I guess. But they made a From Dusk Till Dawn show. It's just like whatever they can do. Yeah, no, I thought the first season was good. It kind of lost me after the first season. I think, but I don't know.
But yeah.
So anyway, Kevin L. Connors also starred in the great immortal classic from Full Moon Entertainment, Prehysteria 2.
Jesus.
I didn't know that kid. I didn't realize he'd done that much. He's not even clickable on the Wikipedia, so I figured it was like his only film.
Well, that's pretty much what I just told you. Is pretty much the breadth of his filmography. He later went on to quit acting and become a Best Boy Grip in many other movies. So if you guys out there in YouTube land or Spotify land, sound off in the comments. Tell us what a best boy grip actually does, because I don't know.
But this the actor, he does a really good job as Tim, though.
Oh yeah,
For being like kid actors are often insufferable. Kid characters are often insufferable in films, but he's actually
He's pretty good in this
fixing
film.
pretty good.
yeah,
Yes.
and he does.
Yeah,
He doesn't overplay himself either. He doesn't have the "gosh, now" kind
yeah.
of thing that
Mm.
kids back in the '90s did. He plays everything very straight and very kind of casual, which for some of the murder scenes he does comes off a
Yeah.
little sociopathic.
Yeah, I like it when he kills that one dude just point blank. He falls in his trap and he walks over there with a gun and just shoots him. Yeah, it's like it's like
Execution style.
It's like we don't just go over there. You got him in the trap, and instead of having some elaborate spike thing kill him in the trap, he just has a gun, shoots him. I got you now.
And that hole is gigantic. And by the way, I love the fact that you can see that it's not really a hole, because if you look at the wall of dirt on the right, it flutters like a curtain.
Oh, well, I wasn't paying that much attention to that, but okay.
It totally does. Watch it again. It totally does. I'm telling you. But that thing is so huge. How did this guy not see it? He just walks right into it.
Yeah. Remember there's like one of those classic mummy movies where they made a big pit like that and then they never used it for the mummy to fall in. But we were covering that. It was just like, it's like, well, they made a pit, but what's the point of it? But...
I know. I don't know either. But apparently, like Tim, his dad was a sheriff, and he explains to Reggie later after he gets him out of the Hemikuda. We totally glossed over the fact that there are 3 criminals in this movie who are scavengers slash thieves, and
also known as looters, but I think it's called scavengers in the film. Very, very like cartoony characters too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like one guy is this tall, skinny white guy with a big old Flavor Flav looking gold chain around his neck.
It's like a money sign. Like they're very like they stand out. And they're very unique looking. So when you see them again, like they keep coming back for some reason. You think they're gone. You're like, wow, they weren't in this movie for long. And then they show back up. They're back. Oh well, they're gone again. So
yeah,
yeah, it's like.
Because they're gone because Tim annihilates them. Like they come into his first of all, part of the reason why that scene blew my mind so much when they see when they come to his house, they have kidnapped Reggie, they've stuffed him in his trunk, and they have been very transparent with their intentions with Reggie. They are going to kill him and tear him and just dump his body on the side of the road and take his Hemikuda and ride off.
But before taking it back even further, now when we first encountered them, Reggie comes into another ghost town. This is kind of we've seen this in Phantasm too, the ghost towns, but here he comes up to this it's called Holtzville, and he comes up there and the population sign says 978 people and it's marked out with a 0. But then it's like he comes in there and then everyone's gone again. But then this one woman there who's pretty hot and and she's wearing really skimpy clothing.
I love how Watkins is like rating her like she's pretty hot.
Well, it's probably the way that what she's wearing, but she's very, very like she looks like she could work at Hooters or something like that, So
keep going. You're doing a great job.
Yeah. But she's got a bit of a southern twang, so even more of a Hooters type of girl. And she's the one that tricks him first, and suddenly she takes a gun and just starts shooting it into the air like Wild Woman, And it's like, what's up with that? And then he's trying to stop her from doing that, and that's when the other 2 guys show up and just knock Reggie out. One of them, the other than the tall guy with the gold thing, there's another short, older dude who's got like a red striped suit on and a tie, and he looks like I don't know. He's kind of like one of those kind of mismatched, short, older dude, and
he looks
hanging
like
out with him.
Yeah, he looks like a bookie from a scene,
yes,
from like a Martin bookie from a Martin Scorsese movie. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, so the very, very like cartoonish characters, all 3 of them, but then they do the odd thing of like they want to steal his stuff, and instead of just leaving him there knocked out on the ground, they want to go and kill him too. So
That was weird.
Yeah.
They stuff him in his own trunk and
Yeah.
just drive on and say, "Oh, there's a nice house looking here, and it's a nice looking house," and
Yeah.
and they decide to go rob it, but it's got these weird looking jester decorations on the mailbox.
There's
With
like there's like graveyard, there's like graves in the yard with like sticks, kind of looks like a pet cemetery sort of thing, but
with some of the worst crosses I've ever seen this
Well, he
side of the
wasn't
Evil
trying very
Dead
well.
series.
yeah. But that's like, Tim apparently had done that. But isn't it kind of odd though the way they go to the trouble to bury people in this? It's like, well, why do you? I mean, you know how long it takes to dig a hole to bury somebody?
A lot.
I mean, if you've ever buried like a dog or anything, it's like, wow, this is going to take you like a long time, and it's like, and they're, here they are, they're having to deal with like these lurkers coming out at night, and then they have these idiots who are trying to kill them anyway. Why would you even bother to bury them? I don't know.
I don't know. I
Because you
think
can't have dead bodies around. They bring the rats, and the flies, and the fleas, and the
yeah,
pestilence,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, man,
I
can't
don't
do that.
know, but it's a lot of effort to bury.
It is.
He already has a big hole in the backyard. He could just throw all three of them into the back with a big hole.
But that's a trap. You can't fill that up with dead. Although that would make it it would make it a more obvious trap because the smell would waft up
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the hole. But it would also, if you could somehow mask the smell, it would make it a really disgusting, ghoulish trap. If you were like walking and you got sprung into that trap and you fell into it, and there's nothing but dead bodies and skeletons in there, that would be really wild, which would
yeah.
make Tim even worse.
Tim is not Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We don't need no body pits here, okay?
No, we don't. But we don't. But instead, what we get are clown dolls with butcher knives coming out of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wait,
no, yeah, no, he's got some wicked looking like things he's made, but he kills like the girl. He kills her first. He throws like a hatchet at her, and
it's
it goes,
a tomahawk.
yeah,
Dude.
yeah. But it goes right into her damn head, and it just kills her right away. And it's like really shocking because you would expect her to live longer, but it's just like, wow, okay, they
Nope.
killed her. Yeah,
Yep, done so.
Yeah, and the guy's like the dollar sign guy's like about to cry over that,
Rufus. You keep calling him dollar sign. I was like, what the fuck is his real name?
But they
Rufus.
never say their names in the
That's
movie.
right. They don't.
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, they say they. I don't think they ever say Edna's name. They say Rufus once, I believe, and I don't think they say Henry's name either.
What a stupid name for that character. He does not look like a Rufus to me.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, yeah, I mean Henry would work better for him than Rufus. The other guys, I could see the other guy being Rufus, like the bookie dude.
Yeah, he looks more like a Rufus to me. But
If they mention Edna's name at all, it would be at the scene when they first do it at the car.
Yeah.
When they first come out.
I was listening for their names though. I was trying to get them, like just write notes on it, and I was just like, "There's no names for these characters." And
I got
yeah.
Rufus's, and that's how I just pictured who each of the other characters were.
I don't
know about you, but I'm just going to refer to them as dollar sign guy, bookie, and Edna. She's got a name. I'll just call her that, or Splithead, because that's kind of what happens to her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm going to refer to. So anyway, like dollar sign guy is mourning over Splithead, and he runs, and then little Tim just runs off. By the way, we forgot to mention this, folks, but like Tim's House of Horrors is punctuated by the fact that the first glimpse they see of him is a little person in a red hoodie with a baby doll mask on.
Yes. And then, it kind of reminds me of like Don't Look Now,
Yes.
Yes.
But I've actually seen some other kid in a movie wearing something similar too. But the first thing that comes to mind is that, but I know I've seen it before in other stuff too, but it looks pretty creepy when you see it, and it's like, what the hell is that shit?
It may very well be the scariest thing in this whole movie.
But you think it might be
running
another
around.
dwarf or something. Luckily, it's not. But
Luckily, it's not. No, instead we get something that's much more lethal than any of the dwarfs, which is Tim, because like he tomahawks, what's her face, and then they chase him outside to the front yard, and he's just standing there with his like holster of bullets because he's got a huge magnum that apparently was his dad's, because his dad was a sheriff who was the first one to die when the tall man came and took over this town. and they're like, "Come and get me, you losers!" So he's kind of like, he's basically what if Kevin McAllister in the Home Alone movies was the lethal killing machine that we all knew he really was. In fact, fun fact, in that anthology book fiction, um, Tim does get his own backstory short story, and it's called "He Was Home Alone."
Yeah, but it's definitely a play off of Home Alone.
Oh yeah,
It's but then
and what
yeah,
and what does he do to them? What does he do to them? He Miami connections them. He's got a frisbee with razor blades on it and
yeah.
throws it at them and slits the throat of dollar sign.
And it's like a pink frisbee too. But what's weird is like I get that he's a kid, so they're not. He's already killed the girl. He's like he threw a tomahawk and killed her. And they're at that point, I mean, they're really dumb to begin with, but they're definitely underestimating him. But you would think if once you saw, and plus they would be mad that he killed the girl. They have an opportunity to shoot him with a gun, and they don't do it. They wait for him to throw the frisbee. But it's a movie, so I guess we don't want the kid to die yet. But at the same time, it's kind of like a little bit of hard to suspend disbelief that they're going to sit there and wait for him to kill him.
But I don't think they realize that the frisbee has razors on it.
It's
I don't
pretty
know,
obvious,
but
though.
he threw a damn tomahawk and just like it went right into her head from across the room. So it's like it's not like he's not dangerous.
But yeah, keep in mind, Tim's not standing right next to them when this is all happening.
No.
They just see a frisbee. They don't really see the blades in the frisbee. And
He's also
they're underestimating him. They're underestimating the kid.
Yes.
Well,
Also,
I guess
you have to remember he's a small target. He's hard to shoot.
but then it happens again after he kills the dollar sign with that. Then the bookie thug picks up a gun and he has it pointed at him. He's like, "You've done it now, you little bastard," which is like a Home Alone, like not without the bastard. Then that's when he falls in the pit. But it's like he has an opportunity to shoot him too, and he really doesn't do it. You think at that point, after he killed his other two friends, he'd be like, "Okay, kid, I'm just shooting you. I'm not going to say anything else." But again, it's like
Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's so bonkers. This is not even like the first half hour of this movie. We are already doing all of this, and it's so insane. And it's going to get much crazier as the movie goes on.
Yeah. Then he goes and finds Reggie in the trunk and gets him out. And at first he thinks that he might be a threat, but then he finds out he's not after having a conversation with him.
And they become fast friends.
Yeah. Become like father and son thing. This like back to the first film where he has Mike as the kid. This kid's a lot younger than Mike was in the first film, but it's kind of the same kind of dynamic going on.
I see that specifically because there are so many callbacks to the first film with parallels between Tim and with Mike from the first film and this film. Shots and things that they do. I mean, or even Mike when in the second film when we later see the car sequence with Tim and he sees Rocky on the side of the road, calls back to the second film with Mike when Mike sees alchemy on the side of the road. There are so many of these parallels between Tim and Mike character between both films and this film.
Once you see that too, that hitchhiking scene with Rocky, it's like I started to think of like it was going to be like another alchemy situation where she was going to turn out to be a villain. Which we didn't talk about alchemy, and we talked about when we talked about the second one, but they showed the flashback of her with the ball in the side of her head, and we quickly see that is that was a ball, though. We see that pretty quickly that some of the other people that's where the ball comes from, and that was maybe not maybe it was originally intended to be that way, but it's definitely is intended to be that way in this film.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a part of the process of the tall man turning a person into either a sigil sphere or a dwarf zombie or a regular sized zombie that we call lurkers. And we're not sure exactly what the function of the lurker is, except maybe just to be lurking in any town that the tall man has already destroyed and like I guess they're just there to kind of kill anybody or abduct anybody who just happens to be there, or as just a trap for Reggie and or Mike, because we've already seen kind of sort of versions of lurkers before. When of course, alchemy being the first one, the first confirmed one, but we may have seen it a little bit with the hunchbacked sort of lurker that was made to look like Liz and had the worm coming out of her back in Phantasm 2.
Yeah, yeah. This is, I mean, sometimes you have to question motivations, but it does seem like if he is laying traps is one thing, but it does seem like maybe he is trying to cause some kind of apocalypse on Earth.
Oh yeah, that's another thing too. Is like every place that Reggie goes to, where the tall man has clearly taken over. Which, by the way, we forgot to mention that when Jody shows up as the Sphere, he tries to stop the tall man from taking Mike, and then the tall man's telekinetic powers destroy him temporarily, and turn him into like a black sphere because he's all burnt.
Yeah.
And from then on, Jody, the Sphere Jody, kind of functions like a very primitive GPS system, basically.
Yeah.
He kind of like wibbles and wobbles and kind of goes into the direction of, let's go that way, go to that town. And that's where the tall man was, or maybe Mike might be. And so that's how they figure out which town they're going to go to. And they're searching for him for God knows how long. Remember, the last movie took place in 88, 89, thereabouts. And then Mike was probably in coma for 3 months to a year. So there's no telling how long it took this road trip around the Northwest. We know that the final place they go to, I don't remember the name of the town, but it's near Boise, Idaho. We know that because it says it on the map. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty crazy how like now we get the picture of what is inside those zombies' heads, and that we now know that the spheres are part of it. They are not just free forming; they're also inside your skull.
Yeah, they talk about, which we don't see it. They talk about how the lurkers come out at night, and so they can't go out at night. It's kind of interesting that happens. It's like a zombie thing, It's like they come out at night. It's like a what is that?
Vampire.
Vampire. Yeah, it is a vampire too.
I was
the
thinking
last man on Earth.
I Am Legend.
Yeah.
I Am Legend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking they were going to do an I Am Legend type thing when I first saw this, where they're like the lurkers are assaulting Tim's house. He's got all these wonderful traps to keep them at bay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, that kind of happens in the short story a little bit, but yeah, no, that's not all what happens in this movie.
Well, because it could have the movie could have easily have spent the rest of the film at Tim's house and done shit like that, but they don't stay there very long.
No, because they got to find Mike.
Yeah, this is a Phantasm film, and we got to go see more mausoleums.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any other franchise or even film where the majority of it is based around the ideal of a road trip. Like, with the exception of the first film, every film is like a road trip movie as a horror film.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, road trip horror.
Something that you only see in those huge epic action films like James Bond, where James Bond has to go to 5 different continents to solve the mystery in each fucking movie for no apparent reason.
I like it when they get near a location sometimes, and they're like, yeah, we're going to so and so, and they're like, yeah, that place is abandoned now. I wouldn't go there. It's like they're in a town over, but you're like, yeah, that town just died.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
They do that. Yeah, they do that twice. Mm-hmm. And both times it's different explanations that are equally apocalyptic.
This like one
toxic spill and anthrax.
Yeah.
They're so calm about it. Yeah, that thing's dead. Don't go there, man.
It causes me to wonder who is behind the disinformation program that orchestrated by the tall man to make people think to cover up for the zombie epidemic that he's creating.
I see it as like something like Salem's Lot. Eventually so many people are taken over in Sphere or are left. That there's always a question of why all these people left, and everyone outside of that town have created their own little theory without ever setting foot in the town itself. That's how I kind of see it. Because that, I want to believe that the people that Reggie comes up to each time and tells them this, they're just normal people who have just seen lots of people just exit the town, leave the town, or died.
Or in the case of the lady by the side of the road, they just take the orphans from the town next door, which is really interesting. Because like it's getting to the point where most apocalypse and apocalyptic movies happen pretty instantaneously. Or if it's a plague movie, it might grow over the course of a few years. This is the first apocalypse that we're seeing where it's so gradual that people don't really notice it.
Yeah.
It's
where
very
it started to take it as a normal thing happening. But that lady you're talking about, Reggie tries to do the right thing with Tim. He tells Tim, he's like, little kids shouldn't be playing with guns, and Tim says, I ain't a kid no more, which I guess technically may not be after doing what he's done.
no.
But then there's a woman she's taking care of other kids, and he tries to drop Tim off there, and then Tim gets in the trunk and comes with him anyway. And later on, he ends up staying after that because he figures Tim's just going to keep doing it. That's something that Mike did in the first Phantasm too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the thing I know. That's what had me seeing this parallel between the Mike character and the Tim character, and stuff like that. I just saw them doing the exact same thing, and I guarantee you, it's all purposeful by Coscarelli.
Oh yeah, for sure, it's purposeful. Yeah. I mean, and also I think would have landed a little bit more, a little harder if Reggie had been critical of Jody's parenting skills in the first movie, and like how he was going to basically abandon Mike. And then here you have and then years later you have Reggie in the same kind of situation with this kid, and he tries to abandon this kid and is unsuccessful in doing that. So in a way, Reggie becomes Jody in his old age.
Well, I mean, it's not really an abandonment though, because he's going on a dangerous journey, and he's really just trying to get the kid to safety, and with a woman who's going to take care of him, and he would have been better off staying there ultimately. But there's some parallels between it, because it's not like Reggie doesn't really know him before he picks him up. But this kid is ready. He's tasted blood. He's ready to kill some shit.
He's not. God only knows. I mean, you say he's not like Leatherface. I'm sorry. I think he probably has skinned a few people and turned them into like dolls or something.
Dude, we only see the 3 original graves in the yard, and he adds 3 more. He's only killed like 6 people. That's not enough.
I need to reread the story. I think he's killed more than that. Actually, no, that's right. He has killed more than that, because there are other scavengers, and he even mentions them. He's like, what are those other graves? Like other scavengers who are trying to hurt me. Yeah. But like, there's like an instance where I think in the short story it talks about like there were some other people where they had a girl with them, which was different, like a young girl, and they tried to like make him think that they were safe people, and they weren't. They were gonna like sell him or something on like some kind of kitty black market or some weird Epstein type stuff. And he ends up killing them all, and he ends up making one of the other guys crash his car, and he doesn't bother to take his car out of he doesn't bother to take his body out of the car in that one, I think, because by now the tall man has started collecting dead bodies. But this kid was traumatized, let's not forget, by seeing the zombie of his father grab his mother and pull him into the hearse while the tall man drives off with him.
Yeah.
So there's that.
There is a moment, which is a callback to Phantasm too, where Mike and Reggie, when Mike as James LeGros and Reggie, after Reggie decides to go on the journey with Mike, he says, "We've got things to do. Let's go." And he says the same thing to Tim in this film after he finally decides he's gonna stick with him.
Yeah. And they finally begin their little journey, and I love that. And this brings us back to when they go to this motel. This kind of brings us back to the disinformation of this slow apocalypse. There's this wild kind of decision that the set decorators decide to do with this motel, that they go to this little motel and they get in, and Reggie decides to check them in, for the night, and the guy, there's like wall to wall inside his office is all this Jesus stuff. You got like several crucifixes, many crosses. There's even the praying hands bookend up at the corner that I think at least a few of my relatives may have had. Uh, there's like a Jesus picture. There's some icons here and there. And then the guy comes out, and what's funny is like there's no indication from this hotel guy. He doesn't make any reference to God or faith or anything. He doesn't say like the anthrax thing is like sure the sign of the end times. Never mentions that. He's just a guy, and he gives Reggie his room for the night with you know. Although it's funny because Reggie purposefully takes the room that has the one queen size bed and basically lies to Rocky and and it says they only had the one room with the one bed. So, but the guy's got all this Jesus stuff everywhere, and nobody mentions anything about it. And I thought it was kind of interesting. Why is it there? And the only thing I can think of is one of two things. Either number one, either Don Coscarelli, who is Italian, has some kind of Catholic faith, and this is how he's expressing that. He expressed it probably a little more overtly in Phantasm 2 with the priest character. If that's the case, well, cool, bravo. I too am a fellow believer, so I'm not the way he is, but yeah, that's cool. Okay. But the other way I think, number two is probably more obvious, probably more likely. Number two is that Coscarelli isn't really in that camp, but I think he might be making a very subtle comment on human nature that I think maybe what he's trying to say is like during times of crisis and during times where it seems like everything's going to crap, people tend towards religion when things happen. So I think maybe that's what he's really trying to say.
Right. Yeah.
No, I was about to say, I think some of that's in there because of the fact that you reset the line before, the one is this whole franchise has to deal with death and people who believe that their loved ones are going to heaven and are being safely transported there via the grave site, and their spirits going where it's supposed to. But the tall man's like everything against that. He's stealing these bodies. He says, "There is no heaven. You become to me when you die." And so having those type of religious shit. I'm looking for the word for it. Those items, those themes in there, kind of play towards the opposite of that, and it keeps that relevant in the back of their mind when they're watching this movie. I think it adds a whole lot without saying or preaching a whole lot.
Here's one thing about it that the guy at the hotel, he's probably not the one to put the stuff out. Someone else did it. He just works there.
He just works there.
Yeah, or it could have been his mom or something. His mom or might own the place. It was probably like an older lady who put all this stuff up because she's worried about the end times happening because the town next door to him has died, and that would explain why he doesn't like say anything about it. Plus, he's been there all day, and he would have to talk to every person about it. So, and he just kind of like at that point, it's time to. They need to get a room, and he wants to just go back to doing his own thing,
But Dave, I love the way you rationalize things sometimes.
Or, I mean, here's another possibility that the script was written a certain way. And then the set dressers decided to put all that shit up, or maybe it was like a real like hotel. And it was already there, and they're like, "All right, we're cool,"
I will say this is probably, aside from the first movie, this is the one that probably used the most real locations. I was surprised to find out that later the mausoleum they go to later on was a real mausoleum. They didn't build it; it's a real one.
I didn't know that. Yeah, and they look a little different in this one. Maybe a little realer, I guess.
Well, it's supposed to be the biggest Gothic mausoleum.
Yeah. I was about to mention that. This is hilarious, actually. So Tim's in the back of the car reading like a brochure about the town they're going to called Bolton, and he's like, another small town, home of the Spring Apple Festival and the largest Gothic mausoleum in the Western U.S. Like that's That's how they sell their town. You know, that's
And
the
they all
highlight.
collectively like, "Yep, we're going there."
Yeah, yeah. Can't wait to see
Obvious
that.
place for the tall man. But I do want to, to keep it in the brain pan, especially since we have two more films to go. That the religious iconography is in the second film. You have the priest and you have the preacher and the whole thing about the his rosary beads and all. There's that stuff is all in these movies, but it's not preaching to anyone. It's kind of all background. And I'm sure there's lots more as we as the films go on. I only started paying attention to that really as we were rewatching the film. So I only started noticing that myself for the first time while we're rewatching the film because we're taking a more critical stance at these films. So
Well, yeah, considering what happens to the priest too, it is definitely like a dark take on the religious part of it. Yeah, because it doesn't seem to play into the solution. Like Reggie or none of the main characters really pull from any type of religious perspective.
No, although Mike did grab a crucifix in the first movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And Liz does in the second movie, but not in this film. There's no one in this film really that kind of. And when we watch the fourth one, I'll have to think about that one too because I don't recall anyone from the fourth one.
But they don't. Yeah, the crucifix doesn't work, and they know it doesn't. Because it's not a religious thing like a vampire. It's not something that's come from hell or whatever, where it could be hurt by faith.
No. Well, yeah, he's a cosmic horror villain.
Yeah,
but he's definitely a satanic archetype in many ways that he fulfills the function and exhibits many of the qualities of a Satan. Although he does, and instead of fire, they use ice to try and kill him in this one, which is interesting. We should probably also mention, like I said, this is a horror. This is not really that much of a horror as a genre. This is definitely an action, but I would say this is not just an action movie. This is an action buddy comedy, really, between Reggie and Tim, but also Reggie and Rocky. And that I
do want to mention one other character is the Jody Spearball that comes with them too.
Yeah. Yeah, he functions more like a guide and also like an exposition machine.
Yes, yeah. I would say guide is the perfect description of Jody in this movie. Is more
it starts off though. That's how the journey starts when he goes to look for Mike. It's like a Wizard of Oz sort of thing. The ball is one of the three people that come with him. It's like the ball, and then he picks up Tim, and then Rocky.
Oh, are you trying to say that? Are you trying to say that Jody is the Tin Man, and
possibly the Scarecrow? Right?
Rocky's the Scarecrow.
Yeah. Well, I would think. I don't know if you. Yeah,
she's the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe. I mean, I guess it's like you just got to have the idea of three different characters that come along on a journey.
And Toto.
Yeah. But you're going to say the comedy part though, when they go into the bedroom in the hotel and he tries to
seduce her, and it's not. He's so smooth.
It's like so like pathetic and it's like hilarious though, but
he acts like he did in the second movie with Alchemy, but he doesn't play right with Rocky because obviously we all know now that she, had a lover and is gay, so it doesn't work well with her.
I hadn't seen the other one. I was assuming that already. The first time I saw her in this film, I'm like, she looks like she's gay, that was my first thought on it. But
you were right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I didn't think about that when I was growing up in '94, but rewatching it, I did question that because I was like, why was she with her and all that type of thing. But you just confirmed my suspicions when you said that it was in the story. So,
but it's so funny though that Reggie's is so hurt and so bad that he's gonna trick her into getting into bed with him, and then like come on, please do it.
Have you ever tried vanilla?
It's
It's got to be the worst pickup line in the history of pickup lines.
Yeah, but it's a 90s thing. I hate to say this. You probably couldn't get away with that shit nowadays, but it's definitely a 90s thing. When you watch these types of movies in the 90s, they all had those stupid ass pickup lines and shit that men characters would do to women characters that just wouldn't fly if you were writing those same type of characters today.
Yeah, it's so hilarious though because you got and this
Uh-huh.
is the type of shit that wouldn't go in necessarily in a mainstream film because you got your hero of the movie begging to have sex with
Yeah.
this girl who is probably gay and doesn't want to have sex with him, tells him no, and he keeps begging her, and then she finally like, okay, let's do this, and she put handcuffs on him, and then she's like, all right, go to sleep. He thinks they're about to have sex, and then it's like, go to sleep. But it's
And
like
he's handcuffed into the bed.
yeah. It's just like but it's a very realistic scene in a way though about a guy who is really hurting for sex. He ends up in a bed with a woman. It's probably been a long time, and he's horny as hell. And it's realistic, but it's just funny the way they do that to their hero and then make it like a really hilarious scene. And yeah. I
And
like
then
the
the
way
way that
Dave, every time Dave says it's realistic, I'm laughing my ass off.
But think I think it's a realistic scene. I mean it's like it would be unrealistic if all of a sudden she decided that she would have sex with him and it was like
Oh
a
my
really
God.
hot sex scene out of nowhere, like we're expecting to happen.
Which also
Yeah.
it was a cliche in the 90s action films.
Yeah, I mean we
But
were
it's
expecting that
funny.
shit to happen,
See, the
It's-
thing is, for me, it's funny because when I remember seeing this in the 90s, it would be that's exactly what would happen in an action film. The two people who have no fucking chemistry in the entire movie
Yeah.
decide to have just a random sex scene as
Yeah.
they're being chased by the bad guys.
Yeah, and then it would dissolve between it and it'd go on for like 3 or 4 minutes, and it's
Yeah,
like
and then in this movie, you see the same type of thing happen, but Reggie gets handcuffed to the bed. So I always found it hilarious.
Yeah,
When
no.
I don't think it fly in this day and age, just like those random sex scenes in action movies don't fly in this day and age anymore. I don't think this would fly.
no, it wouldn't, and it makes me real, and it just further confirms to me that Alchemy was a lurker at least the whole time, because the only woman who would jump into bed with Reggie, barely knowing him, would be a zombie.
You're so hilarious, Thomas.
But
Which probably makes him feel really awful by the time.
I honestly don't believe there was there was a thought in terms of continuity for that type of thinking with these films. I think leaving it ambiguous is part of the charm of these films. Like you just, as a writer, you would just say, "I'm just gonna let audiences be ambiguous. Let them figure this shit out themselves. I don't need to. It's just fun to play with audiences that way." Like, Don Coscarelli knows what he's doing because these are the only films in his entire filmography that are like this. The only ones. So you have to have an idea that he knows he's putting all this shit in there for a reason. Because he doesn't play with audiences like this in Beastmaster.
I was thinking the same thing.
Or Bubba Hotep. Or any of his, well, maybe a little bit in John Dies at the end, but that's based on the book, so I give him a little leeway on that one. But yeah,
I keep forgetting he did that.
huh?
I said I keep forgetting he did that movie.
yeah,
Such a great movie. Such a great movie.
Yeah.
But yes.
So
Yeah.
So what happens after that? Then it's the next day they're driving, and then they get lost. They don't know what they're doing.
Oh, that's right.
And he's just like, "We're lost. What are we doing?" And then suddenly, 3 hearses drive up down the road.
It seems like it's more than 3.
Yeah, but I wrote down 3, but it would think it's more. It's 3 there, but then they follow them and they end up in a place where there's 12. There's 12 hearses parked where they go.
Yeah.
So we see the Gravers again for the first time in this film. They were introduced in the second film. They're driving the hearses, the gas mask guys.
Yeah, the Gravers.
Yeah.
Which why they would be driving the hearses, we have no idea. I think that's in their job description. They're gravers.
Yeah,
They dig up the graves. That's literally their job. I guess the tall man didn't have enough mortuary workers who were under his thrall to be to be transpo in his operation. So I guess that's what happened.
I think leaving those type of questions ambiguous is part of the charm of the movie. Like these characters, these side characters, these peripheral characters don't have a specific duty, so to speak. They just kind of do whatever needs to be done.
Yeah, they do. They do. They try to break in. They go over where all the hearses are, and then the gravers try to break into their car. There's a brief fight, and then they all get away, and then they're camping after that. And that's when we get Mike back because we have this really extended, what seems to be a dream sequence at first. It turns out to not be a dream sequence.
I mean, it is a dream sequence in the sense that it's in Reggie's head, but it's also
Yeah.
what I would call a vision quest. It's basically an astral plane type thing.
Yes.
I feel astral plane. I feel like he does travel and he gets him back, but he has to go through some things that aren't true to get there.
Yeah, because because the sphere version of Jody. I don't know why I have trouble saying that. Sphere Jody, ball Jody,
Black ball Jody.
I can call it Jody Sphere is how I put it.
Jody Sphere. There you go. Although that sounds like a stripper.
It turns into a completely black ball after a while. At first, it's kind of like a partially black ball, but it eventually almost looks like an 8-ball, without the 8 on it. But
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. He's the original Magic 8-Ball.
Yeah. They even at one point I was thinking he is the Magic 8-Ball because they're asking him where they're going. They even shake it at one point.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I started laughing. Is like the Magic 8-Ball because Tim shakes the damn thing.
Bet they got a Magic 8-Ball and spray painted that shit.
Oh, bet they did. You know what? From now on, we are calling him Jody 8-Ball. I got it. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh my God.
I am calling him Jody 8-Ball. So Jody 8-Ball basically interrupts Reggie's wet dream about Rocky.
Yeah,
which is very awkward.
It's so pretty hilarious. She's like, Reggie, you're so big.
Oh, please don't. Please don't, Dave. Please don't make it.
We get a sexualized scene in each one. This one just happens to be Reggie's actual wet dream.
Yeah, but then we get we actually do see her nipples and all that in the scene, and it's that it's funny because they actually do the sex scene in this a little bit, but it's like it's nice that they didn't do it for real and it's just a dream.
Yeah,
because if they had to have it, it's better that they did it this way,
And they do have 8-Ball Jody say, "Come on, Reggie, I need you to get behind me. I need you to get behind me on this."
Yeah.
Which is funny because where he is in relation to dream version of
yeah.
But so he has to go with him, much to his chagrin, and he's just like, even in my dreams, all right, stay right there. I'll be right back. He's never back. But he goes with 8-Ball Jody across the astral plane through a door that opens to a desert, which, by the way, is always a great shot. If you can, young filmmakers out there, if you ever get a chance, always have a shot where you got a door that's clearly the indoors of somewhere and opens to a improbably large location, which in this case is a dry riverbed.
Yeah.
That Reggie's like, man, I used to go here when I was a boy. And he's like, where is this place? And 8-Ball Jody's like, somewhere in your mind. He's like, I don't know, somewhere in your mind. And they have to go through there, and that's where they go to the lab. And that's, like I said earlier, this is where they see the peek behind the curtain and see how the tall man's doing his thing. And then later on, when they're doing the scene where Mike is there and he's in the mausoleum in this little thing that apparently the tall man can communicate with him through like X-ray vision, basically. And he's like, let me out. And then he's like, you can get out if you use your brain, boy. And then leaves him. And apparently I read somewhere that when they did that scene, when they get Mike out of there using laser beams from the 8-Ball Sphere Jody and spring Mike out, and the tall man is there chasing them, I read somewhere that was the first time they'd all been together on set in 15 years.
Yeah, I think I read that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it says that on IMDb. I'm sure that's it's either said somewhere, maybe. There is not director's comment. There's a weird commentary on this one that has Angus Scrim and a Michael Baldwin and without the director. So it's a little odd that the director's not involved. And both of those characters
Yeah,
aren't in the whole movie. You
yeah.
know,
I think it's
they're in
funny.
it sporadically.
That's interesting you should say that because like the commentary that's on my disc in my box set, which isn't really that much of a box set, is just Coscarelli and I think like a film historian or something. Like
Oh,
somebody
really?
was yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't listen to it. I didn't really have time.
Yeah, yeah.
But
No, I
yeah,
didn't listen to the whole thing, but I thought it was kind of odd that they didn't have Don Coscaretto. I didn't have the
That's right.
director on there. Yeah, they didn't have him in there, so I thought it was odd that they didn't.
he was
Uh,
probably busy doing that other commentary.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, but they more than likely in that commentary say that. That's probably where the IMDb thing came from. But it is true. I mean, it's the first time we see those three actors, those all four of those people on set since the first, I mean, in the same scene since the first film.
In fact, I'm not even sure, but I think that may be the last time that they are all together like that in this entire franchise because I don't think that happens in part four either. Because Jodie Sphere, I don't know if Jodie Sphere materializes as Bill Thornberry again, quite like that in front of the tall man in the same shot with all of them. I'm not sure that happens in four. I don't know. When I rewatch it, we'll find out. But
Yeah.
anyway, like there's a break, like they break Mike out of the mausoleum, and Jodie uses some like pan-dimensional space voodoo to open a space gate.
But yeah, this whole part gets really friggin' weird, by the way. It's like, I mean, I guess in order, it's almost like a David Lynch Twin Peaks, like The Return or
I mean, it's
it,
super.
it- yeah.
I was gonna say it's super cool, but it's not as. I mean, by Phantasm standards, though, seriously, it's not quite so weird. We've seen much weirder stuff than this. But what does break it a little bit to me as I rewatched and started thinking about it, I was like, huh, that's a pretty cool trick, Jody 8 Ball. This would be funny. I don't know why you didn't use that trick earlier when we were wandering around the countryside.
Well, I think I know why because the 8 ball actually gets damaged.
Yeah.
He's been recuperating. I think this is when he's finally. I think that he's finally able to use his powers at this point because before that, it seemed like he was just as they went on, he was getting healed from getting the tall man like what he like flung it across the room and messed it up. He actually turned it red at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I see it too. The Jody
Huh.
Sphere was more or less recuperating. Couldn't communicate with much of anybody until that sequence there when he was able to communicate with the Reggie character to go and save Mike. Which I think is fine because then you don't see any of that till the 2/3 of the way in the movie. And they're not doing that shit early on in the movie because we like the road trip aspect
Yeah.
for everything that gets us to there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was just saying for narrative purposes that we have an explanation for why it doesn't happen earlier too, because he's injured.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll take that. So anyway, he's got the tall man coming after them, and the tall man's face and hands come through the space gate, which we've never seen him do that. And he's like, "Oh, there you are at the campsite," and tries to grab Mike and Reggie. They get. I think they laser some. I think Jody lasers the tall man. He goes back for a little bit. They're like, he's gonna come through, and then Reggie bravely does something he's never done in part two, and he's like, "You can close the gate, Reggie. You've done it before." Cut to some scenes from the first movie where he closes the space gate with his hands and the inner vibration of his power as a musician, I guess.
Yeah. Apparently,
And
only he can do it.
only he can do it.
Yeah.
Only Reggie has the power to close the space gates, and he
I found that
closes.
hilarious, but it's fun to watch regardless of Reggie doing it as you see the tall man's head and arms come like right between his legs.
Yep, and then the hands get sliced off when he closes the gate.
Of course, that's not the first time we see it get closed like that. I don't think we've seen it. We didn't realize it could cut off somebody. It's like a Stargate too. Like, 'cause that's what happens when the Stargate gets shut on somebody when they're halfway through it. You know, so
Yeah. I always thought it was really really dark whenever in Stargate when they created when they put the metal block on the gate, that metal iris,
Yeah.
They closed the iris, and if somebody went
Oh
through the
yeah, yeah.
Stargate on the other
Hit
side,
it.
and the metal iris was on the other gate, they would just
Yeah.
slam right into it.
Jeez. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, that's so gross to even think about. But anyway, like they got the hands just kind of crumble and become like little little not shells, but like an exoskin, like kind of the exoskin that was left over from the face hugger in the first
Yeah.
Alien movie.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of like a snake skin, the
Yeah.
way that they look like, but they look like hands.
Yeah,
They're-
and then of course out
Yeah.
comes some two creatures. We already established that the tall man's appendages can turn into little creatures. And this is no different, folks. We get not one but two little creatures, whom I shall call Freddy the Finger Monster 1 and 2. So Freddy the Finger Monster 1 just comes out of a backpack, and he's got these cute little jaws with these cute little fangs, these cute little mandibles, and just attacks people. And they get little Tim shoots at them with his gun, and Reggie gets the quad and shoots them, and it's this wonderful little sequence, fun for the whole family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It reminds me of Ashley Williams from the Evil Dead Army of Darkness movie, chasing after his own little selves and getting his ass whooped by them. It's
Yeah, yeah.
hilariously crazy, some of the sequences in this film that are almost slapstick in the execution of them.
Yeah, it is Evil Dead like, and it's also like the same actor, I mean, same director did Bubba Hotep. It's like Bubba Hotep when they're fighting those bugs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but the scarabs and that. But this Mike is back at this point, and he actually kills the second of them. He burns it with a lantern. He throws it into the fire and burns it with a lantern. So Mike gets to do something, and now he's back, and it just seems like what I talked about earlier. Just it doesn't seem like he fits with the group anymore.
And he's a little disconnected because he doesn't know these other characters. The only
Yeah.
characters he's familiar with is Reggie. So it does feel a little bit like he's a little bit off on his own.
And I have a theory, guys, that there's another reason why he doesn't feel so connected to them anymore. Which I don't know if I should go. Yeah, I'll just go ahead. Because later on, spoilers, we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but Mike gets kidnapped again by the tall man, because that's what Mike does at this point. And the tall man is trying to do some experiments on him, and later on he tells him exactly what it is. He's like, you need to shovel off this imperfect flesh and transcend time and space, basically. And the implication is that he has singled out Mike for some reason, and he basically is trying to not just turn him into a regular lurker. He doesn't want that. He's got something bigger planned for Mike. And I think what he's trying to do is that, and part 4 kind of really bears this out, he seems to be trying to turn Mike into a successor to him, a new tall man, a Timu tall man, if you will. And I think, and this is just my cockamamie theory, I think that way back, even when Mike was in the hospital, I think he was already changing him. He was already changing his physiology, which is why I think the other nurse, the horror hag nurse, has got the same medical instrument that the tall man is trying to use on him later on. I think that they were slowly but surely transforming him into the formaldehyde bleeding creation with sphere eyes that he becomes at the end of the movie. Now, obviously, he doesn't complete the transformation because Tall Man gets interrupted, but he's still got his soul by the time the movie is over. He's still human. He's still Mike, but he's got a sphere in his skull now by the end of the movie, and it horrifies him. So I think he's already been changed a little bit, and so I think he's already a little disconnected from humanity, and he doesn't realize why.
Some yellow blood going on in there too, but I wonder, like I said before, like there might be a time thing going on here. What if Mike was always the tall man to begin with, and this is how he was created?
No, I wouldn't. No, No, that's too much.
Yeah.
Well, elements in the fourth film kind of throw that for a loop.
Yeah, it was just an idea. I hadn't seen I hadn't seen the fourth one all the way through, and
Oh, that's right.
I've seen part of the fifth one too. So I'm just kind of speculating.
So,
Yeah.
see, this is good to have him on board with us because we've seen all of them, me and you, Thomas, and he hasn't. But it's an interesting theory if you believe that the tall man could transcend time and space. It's an interesting theory that you could play around with.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we've seen time being changed in these movies. I guess there's a lot of weirdness going on with dimensions.
Yeah, no, the very first movie when you see Mike looking at the old ass picture of Jebediah Morningside, who seems to have been around in the old Wagon West days. Some of that stuff comes to play in the fourth film when he goes back to knowing who the Jebediah Morningside is from the very beginning. And he can't possibly be the same as he was back in the old West days as he is now. There's a whole thing where you kind of get an idea. You don't have any clue as to exactly the time and space of which the tall man can exist in, which kind of plays in your theory, Thomas. There's multiple versions of the tall man going on at the exact same time.
Yeah.
He reminds me, and I hate to say this, it reminds me of the Marvel character Kang, the Conqueror, who has multiple versions of him running around the universe, the multiverse. That's the closest I can think of to the tall man being the way he is. There's multiple different versions.
And yet they all look pretty much the same.
They look all pretty much the same. Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Well, his hair's different color in this one.
And different and different lengths too. If you remember. He's got shorter hair in Phantasm 2 than he does in Phantasm 1.
Hey, there are multiple. Kang the Conqueror looks very different in different versions of him too. So yeah, you just throw that theory out there. I would be curious to actually read other theories. Now I haven't read the book that tells more about the background for a lot of the other characters, but I bet you Don Coscarelli has hopefully some idea of what he's doing with all this shit.
He does say in the introduction to that book that he does have material for a volume 2 if this book is successful. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. Hopefully in that freaking book he'll have the backstory to the fortune teller and her daughter from the first movie that I really wanted. Don, if you're listening.
Just do your own fan fiction, dude.
No, I don't write fan fiction. We don't waste time on that. Come on.
That was so random too in that one. When she goes to that door and it just shows her in the back of her head, and then it's like goes into the time gate, I guess. But that was so random.
Yeah.
It almost seemed like it wasn't even the same actress that they were doing it with. It was like, okay, we're just gonna kill her for no reason.
Yeah, I guess. But this segues into one of the great car chase that happens in this movie, because there's pretty much a good car chase in almost all of these movies. Mm-hmm. And this is the first time we see proper the zombified, lurkerfied bodies of the three thieves, Dollar Sign Man and Edith and guy who looks like a bookie from Martin Scorsese movie.
Edna, not Edith. I think it's funny. I know that it doesn't really matter. The three scavengers is fine.
What a weird name, Edna. I mean, that sounds like an old lady name, you know?
It does, doesn't it? But you know what?
Those Rufus. Rufus is pudding.
Yeah, I mean, all three of those names sound old, like Edna, Rufus, and Henry. Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Maybe you could correct me on this, but I feel like Rufus. But to me, it feels like Rufus. You're either a redneck yokel from the Appalachians, or you are a black guy, an old black man who's been working on cars his whole life.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound. These characters just don't. They don't really say their name. Maybe Rufus, but it's like they don't fit the actual characters' names. You know, I mean,
Yeah, I
they
mean,
call these characters.
you're either that or you're George Carlin's character from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was Rufus, and it fit though. When he said his name was Rufus, you believed it. But really, that other guy, like the bookie guy, if he said his name was Rufus, that sounds legit. You
I'd be
know?
like, bull crap,
Yeah,
man. I'd be like, bull
yeah,
crap. But they have it chased in a pink hearse, which is
yeah,
delightful. It's like if you took a pink
Yeah.
Cadillac, turned it into a hearse, that's this car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're shooting at him, and the Hemi Cuda's roof convertible just pops right off, which is pretty rad. and
Yeah,
then
it is pretty rad.
and they're shooting at him, and they're climbing out of one car trying to kill the other one, and then boom, they have this wonderful sequence where the pink hearse just rolls off a rock, flings through the air like a toy, pretty much.
This same
And
thing
the-
happened. Same thing happened in two. Like this, I think it's the same rock. The rock is like always right there in a stupid place. And why is it there?
I don't know, but I know it can't be the same rock because according to IMDb, they built a special rig to launch this car, and they had like because it's not just let's say it's like a toy, but it is not a model; it's a real car. They flipped that sucker and they turned it end over end on a crane. This was the single most expensive stunt in the whole movie, and it's pretty wild to see it go end over end, crash, tumble, crash again, explode. Because of course it explodes.
Damn, Pete
Well,
Curse
you
is
have
cool
to have it
looking too.
explode. That's the thing about this film. Where some aspects look like it was maybe cheaply done. The car sequences and explosions look amazing. They always is this is one that there's an explosion at the very beginning as well, right?
Oh yeah, because the hearse in the begin from Phantasm 2 doesn't just go off; it crashes and explodes for reasons.
Yeah. Well, there's something else cool happens during this sequence. Now Edna jumps onto their hearse like a dumbass, and then Mike shoots her, and she falls back towards the pink hearse, and then the hearse like just runs over her ass.
Yeah, I thought she was gone at that point, but nope.
Yes. Yeah, no, she comes back again. I mean, I feel like they're never going to stop coming back, even after the end of this. Why do they assume they're not going to come back again? You know, it's like
I don't know. I think it's because I mean, again, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but I feel like when they appear again in the mortuary, little Timmy the world's most lethal boy shoots one of them straight in between the eyes. Does nothing, which actually kind of makes sense now that I think about it, because if part of the process of creating a lurker is your brain basically gets shrunk down and or removed entirely by the tall man or whoever's on his surgical staff helping him out, and it's just you got a sphere in your cranium, and it's a shrunken version of your brain. So either those brains are like in some sort of bulletproof chamber inside your skull, so that makes sense, or could simply be that the sphere inside your brain like repairs a little bit, and the only way to kill them, quote unquote, kill them would be to completely remove said brain from said body and destroy said brain, which is kind of what happens later.
I mean, yeah, but her getting run over like that and exploded, but she comes back anyway. But it's looking little.
It feels like their bodies are completely indestructible. They may take a little damage, but they're indestructible because, to be honest with you, the crash and what happens to her, the bodies themselves should have been gone beyond belief, but they keep coming back. So there is a supernatural element to these lurkers that you may not be thinking about when you're originally watching the film, because these zombies do different things than your typical George Romero zombie. So
there's a much wider variety of them too.
I mean, it's not just a zombie though. They're more. It's like maybe a ghoul mixed with a zombie, but it's a little different because they're more high functioning than a zombie.
Yeah.
Well, they're more like a Deadite in that regard, except that they don't have except they don't have as many powers as a Deadite, because Deadite's got tons of powers.
Right.
Yeah, I think about a deadite. That
The
is a big
next,
reference. That's exactly,
the
yeah.
next, which is brings into the last 30 minutes. Yeah, yeah, something like that. Demon in a way, but these aren't demons. These are manufactured with a human body. But it's not really. It's kind of a zombie, but it's not really a zombie. It's something else.
They're much more
But
like
the
zombies than those.
last part of the film, U.S.
I mean, they're much more like zombies than those daggum zombie Jawas. So it makes more sense for us. I like to call him that
Yeah.
simply because I mean they look more like the typical one. Also, it makes the zombie fans out there want to see this movie more.
Yep,
When you
yep.
get your kicks that way.
Well, yeah, I will definitely say that if you're going to go
Yeah.
into, if you're a zombie fan, you're wanting to see different types of zombies. This is a type of zombie that is, to be honest with you, I don't think I recall seeing any type of zombie like this in any other film. The closest would be like you just said, a Deadite, which was just great. I never thought about that. Should have, as much as I like Evil Dead.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean,
No,
we already talked
the
about.
zombies yeah.
I'm sorry, you were saying.
No, it's in Return of the Living Dead 2 and 3 are kind of, especially Return of the Living Dead 3 kind of could be a little bit like this, the way that you can't kill them and they just keep coming back and they talk too.
Yeah. Although I think if you were to completely shove one of these things into a cremation oven, you
Yeah,
probably would completely destroy
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I mean, it probably just like you're saying, just taking the ball out of their head and destroying the brain inside of the ball is gonna kill them, I would think, because that brain's what's
Probably.
making them work.
Yeah, assuming you could remove those things and they didn't just start flying around like the tall man sphere apparently does later on in this movie. Um,
No, it'd be very dangerous to take the spear out of their head. It's going to probably be worse for you at that point, because
because you don't know what sort of accessories those balls have.
yeah,
Because you got
no,
because of
yeah,
this because this movie also introduces some new ball accessories.
yes.
Because Phantasm 2 had the deadly laser beam ball sphere. They had a buzzsaw ball sphere. They have this one. You get the security eyeball sphere, where just
yeah.
a little eyeball on a stalk just kind of is the eyes is the eyes and ears of the tall man, really. And then this one,
Yeah, that reminded me of like Flight of the Navigator, the way that the Navigator looked in that film is.
yeah, it's what it reminded me of too. Although I think maybe Coscarelli, who's clearly such a Star Wars fan, he was probably making a homage to that little eye stalked robot droid thing that's in Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, well, there's even like the eye on the front of the palace when they go in there that it opens up, and with talk, they let them in. It's like that's really like the original Ring doorbell for the palace, but but it was an eye like that though.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think that's what it is. Oh, I also love how during this whole fight between these three zombie thieves and Rocky and Reggie and Tim, the all-star team, um, poor Reggie gets cornered by the girl zombie thief, and she's trying to eat him? Question mark. But then Rocky comes in and she's like, as much as she doesn't like Reggie, she's like, "Hey, get your hands off my boy." I'm like, "Aw, it's her boy." That's
yeah,
nice.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then she beats the crap out of her.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Although if you watch closely, while she's beating the crap out of Zombie Lady, she also accidentally hits Reggie with the nunchucks a couple of
Yes,
times.
yes. Yeah, but I believe this is the one where the one issue I had where I think is this the one where she's fighting and she almost falls over the edge of the ledge and she
That
has
happens. That's before.
okay, so I always get this one confused because of that, because it always seems weird that she drops the nunchucks and she's hanging on the ledge of that, and then the next time we see her, I think she's helping out Reggie and
Yeah. She dropped the nunchucks, but she drops and she goes and gets them back. So then she shows back up with them.
man, we should have seen her drop and break a leg or some shit, dude. It just seems like a weird. It just seems like a weird. That's always seemed like a weird cut to me. Every time I see it, it just seems like a weird cut because the way they shoot it, you're like, oh, she's on the edge of for her life, and cut, and we don't know what happens to her. and then she just
Yeah.
shows up.
Yeah, there's something missing. Somebody messed up in the edit. That's all there was to it.
Yeah, I think there's something missing there too. I was like hoping that there might be something on the Blu-ray, the recent Blu-ray release of the movie. There's not, but I was like, oh, maybe I could finally see what that. That was the only scene in this entire franchise where I like, oh man, what the fuck am I missing? This edit is weird. Yeah, but no, I thought I was gonna get it on the Blu-ray release, and I didn't, and I was like, oh shit. So I just bring that up because that's literally one of the few problems I had with this movie is that because it's always bothered me. Always bothered me.
Oh yeah. So then later on, then even like everybody gets in on the action. They're all fighting each other. They can't. The bad guys can't die, but they start disposing of them in horribly wonderful ways. Even little 8-ball Jody gets in on the action by first he frees Tim, who gets restrained by the tall man with his little little tool with a little buzzsaw on it, cuts his restraints, and then he starts flying around and gets out his little blades and sticks himself into the head of Dollar Necklace guy, and then spins his head around like a screw top and rips it off.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Which is awesome.
Cool. Yeah. Because it's like his neck's already jacked up from when I come through the frisbee earlier. That's what killed him to begin with,
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And then Reggie sneaks up behind freaking Rufus, quote unquote, or Bookie, and he has a kill line that doesn't quite land, but I'll say it anyway. He says, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, boom.
Yeah.
I feel like that can be improved, don't you think, guys? I feel like that can be improved.
It's from a poem by, was it Rudyard Kipling?
Is it?
Yeah. It's the first line of the poem. If you can keep your head when all those about you are losing theirs, that's where it comes from anyway.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
We got poetry here, guys.
Yeah.
Poetry.
It's a little heavy-handed though in that part.
It is, and I'm not sure if I would buy Reggie's a Rudyard Kipling fan. I don't know if that. Yeah.
It's a good poem, but it doesn't land. You're right. It just comes off as very like that was a little heavy for that. It needed to be less like words in that,
Yeah, less words, or maybe words with a different accent. Let's see if maybe. Hello, Mr. Schwarzenegger.
Oh, Mr.
Schwarzenegger. I think Arnold can help us. Arnold says he can help us. Let's see what he can do to spruce this up. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. I'm here to give you my Schwarzenegger alternators for this kill line, which clearly needs some sprucing up here. So I'm going to give you 3 alternate versions of this line that's Reggie. If I were playing this character, this is how it would go. Okay, I got you 3 of these. Here we go. Number 1. But when Reggie blows off that last lurker in Phantasm 3, here we go. Number 1. No, wait. I'm going to go in reverse order. Number 3. Looks like you're running out of friends. I've got 4 right here. Because the quad shotgun, he's got 4, but he's also got 4 friends. Yeah, it works on 2 levels. Number 2. Hey, it's a dead man's party. Who could ask for anything more? It's an Oingo Boingo reference. It's a dead man's party.
Yeah, I know that one.
Okay, good. I'm sorry. I wasn't looking at your face.
Elfman. I know that.
I wasn't looking at your face. I was looking at James' confused face.
Well, I wasn't confused by what it was. I was just like, it's still a little long. It needs to be shorter.
All right. Well, then, number 1. If you can keep your head while others are losing theirs, you still lose. Thank you, Mr. Schwarzenegger. You've been very helpful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, it's a little bit of an improvement.
He said a little bit of improvement.
It's good though, yeah. He brings Schwarzenegger in apparently.
I really do like, now that I'm looking at it, I really do like number 3. Looks like you're running out of friends. I've got 4 right here.
No,
Boom.
I like that one too.
Yeah. No, that one does work. I think when you were saying it, I wasn't remembering that he used the shotgun to kill him at that point. So I mean, it actually works pretty good.
It's the quad, man. The
Yeah,
quad gun. It's got 4 barrels of awesomeness. So anyway, like this is right after they see him experimenting on Mike, and they're so slow to get to him that I honestly think that the tool has done its work already, primarily.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Kind of shows it and then cuts back. We
yeah.
did, yeah. But we didn't mention when they first get into the morgue there that they go into that one room and there's actually a cryo barrel like from Return of the Living Dead 2, and it's got 3 cryo heads in it and nitroglycerin, which comes into use here in just a bit.
And there's also bodies hanging in another like freezer
Yeah,
locker next to it too.
yeah,
That kind of freaks Tim out.
yeah. Some weird shit going on here. What's funny is they all come in there and they apparently checked everything out, but yet they keep finding more weird stuff they didn't notice before.
Right,
And
because like this is supposed to be a place the tall man hasn't come yet.
yeah,
I don't know.
but it's,
Maybe they're wrong.
yeah, but it's funny how like they do this like in other parts of the films too, where they get somewhere and they act like they've done a thorough check of the whole place, but then weird shit starts like coming out of the woodwork when they're like, what was that? Like there's bodies in the freezer. I mean, how do they miss it? You know?
Yeah, that one I thought was kind of odd, and then they don't play. They don't. That doesn't really get played up anywhere else. You know, there's just bodies in the freezer, and like, oh, that's different.
Yeah, I guess
And
they
when
don't
they
really
first
matter though.
and when they first see it, then Mike gets this image of his head in his head, which is just a clip from Phantasm 1, where he sees the tall man walking down Main Street in that famous shot where Reggie opens up his
Oh
his
yeah,
ice cream truck, and the cold from the ice cream truck causes a reaction from the tall man. And he says, "Oh, that reminds me. Something I remembered about the tall man. He doesn't like the cold." And then Reggie's like, "Why didn't you tell us that earlier?" And Mike's like, "You never asked." You know, kind of.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's actually pretty funny though that they had Reggie say that because that's what the audience is thinking at that, you know.
Yeah.
But it is kind of a leap too for him to assume the tall man doesn't like the cold just because he had a mild reaction to the ice cream truck. Is you know, it didn't even seem like he didn't like it. It was just kind of like it was like he was sniffing it or something.
Well, it was a question of whether or not it was agony or ecstasy,
Y-
and this movie answers that question. It was agony.
I don't think that when Coscarelli originally filmed the first film that was anything in his brain. I think that it's a good ideal to use stuff like that in another way in these other films, especially in the fourth film, because it kind of links all of the entire franchise and makes it much more of a clean experience watching them all. Now, it may have not meant anything in the first film, but he kind of gave it more meaning when he put it in this film, which is kind of cool because we see some of these archival footage scenes again and again, especially in the fourth film, which Dave you haven't seen. We see a lot more in that one. So
yeah.
Yeah, you're in for a treat with that one, Dave. But yeah, so this causes them to basically be like, okay, this is how we're gonna kill him in this movie because they make a harpoon. Well, I think it's interesting the way they do it. It's like Rocky freezes the head of a harpoon and harpoons him like he's a white whale, like he's Moby Dick. And the tall man tries to grab the harpoon, but he can't because it's frozen solid, and his hands just kind of melt from the cold. He's like, "Oh no!"
cool visual though.
Yeah, it's a cool visual. Yeah, it's pretty much the same visual that we see in Phantasm 2 when he's getting melted by the acid. But
Right. Yeah.
and they nail him to the wall of the freezer and lock him in there and just watch him freeze. And we think that's it, but it's not it. Because as the tall man is often to say, it's never over. And bam, his face opens up, and there's the golden sphere with the weird new jagged blade configuration on it that just flies around, and they try to grab him, and they grab it, and then finally they slam the sphere into the liquid nitrogen, and freeze it after Reggie catches it with a plunger.
Yeah, yeah. He gets that. It's funny. He reaches over. It's kind of like from Phantasm too, when he opens up the laundry cabinet. And he comes out with like a random thing, but he's like he thinks it's gonna be something really good. It ends up being a plunger, and he's just like
Yeah.
the look on his face is like, oh fuck. But it actually ends up being the right tool for the job.
This is why I wish Reggie Bannister had done a lot more film, because the looks on his face in this franchise are just classic, and we don't see those in some of the other films he ever did. Like, Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell became famous because of the elastic face that he has and the looks that he just does in films. It's just priceless. Not only just in Evil Dead, but in Hercules and everything else he ever did. Jack of all trades and all the shit he did. I would have wished Reggie Bannister had that same type of career trajectory, because he's so great at this character in these movies.
He was born to play this character. He was absolutely born to play him.
He was.
But this movie does have a theme, and Jody said it. Well, Mike said it in the beginning, and Jody says it again. Don't believe everything you see, because poor Mike realizes that he is now part tall man, and he's afraid of himself now, and he's like, he sees the spear inside his skull and the yellow blood oozing, and just runs away after they've beaten the tall man, apparently. And he's like, don't come near me. I'm and it's like a Wolfman type thing. Like, I'm a monster. And he's just gone, runs away. And then Jody's walking off, and Reggie's like, what's going on here, man? Tell me. He's befuddled.
Yeah.
And Jody's like, and suddenly Jody becomes all cryptic and Yoda-ish for no reason, and says, don't believe everything you see, Reggie. Seeing is easy. Understanding, well, that takes a little more time. Be patient, Reg. We'll be in touch. Bamf, he's gone.
Yeah, he appears in person there too, like not as the ball, like Jody does.
Yeah, this is the first digital effects in these movies too. Is when Jody morphs into a ball.
Yeah. What's funny is like they do this sometimes other points where they just assume everything's over. I would never assume everything's over with all this weird stuff going on all the time. It's like
You're right.
never.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know what else I wouldn't do? I wouldn't go right back into the mausoleum I just came out of to see if they can find, quote, clues as to where Mike went.
Well, they're trying to figure out what the hell happened to him too, because he kind of disappeared. Everything happens to him, and then they're trying to figure out clues. But then, before we get to that, we lose Rocky. So
yeah, we don't. Well, okay, ladies and gentlemen, don't be afraid. Don't be alarmed, guys. We don't lose Rocky, and Rocky is not a shape-shifting monster like Alchemy is. Rocky's just like, man, I ain't having this. I'm out.
Yeah, that was a good decision too. It was a decision she probably could have made earlier.
I mean, she says like the zombie killing thing ain't for me.
Yeah. That's the thing. So the zombie killing thing ain't for her. You like her original intention was to find out who'd go after the tall man who had something to do with the death of her family members, what she was looking for, and the death of, now I know, her girlfriend. Yeah, she wants a little bit. And I think Reggie actually says you can get a little payback. At some point, yeah. So that's what it starts off with, until she starts seeing fucking zombie people showing up and fighting their asses, and they don't want to die.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It gets to the point when you're like you're trying to get revenge, and then you're like, is it really worth it anymore?
It depends on your movie, dude.
Yeah.
There's a series called Death Wish, where the whole point is to get cursed.
But then you have like people that you're going after to kill at that point. But here it's like, what are you trying to kill? What is it exactly? It keeps changing. The flag keeps moving. It's like here's the tall man, you killed him, but guess what? He's back. It's like the goalpost just keeps moving into him. And so, but Reggie, on the other hand, his mission is to try to save Mike, but they're also in a bigger mission, perhaps, which is to stop an apocalypse from happening, which they probably aren't really equipped to do.
No, they are not. But that is precisely part of the reason why I love this franchise. It's the fact that this is the only horror franchise that follows the same four characters over five movies over the course of almost 40 years. And it's just one continuous story that never reboots. And with the exception of part two, it's the same cast. And Reggie will continue to fight even when it seems hopeless. In fact, he will continue to fight because it's hopeless. And we'll get into this more in four, because I feel like that is most beautifully rendered in part four, probably. In five, I take it into a whole other degree. I think it really crystallized for me in five. But I think we get a little bit of that here, although he does seem to be he just seems to be a little hopeless when he's pinned against the wall by a million spheres that are just hanging out on the roof.
Now they are established in
Yeah.
with Mike's type of. He goes into like a flashback with the tall man, and he sees all these spears up on the ceiling. There's like thousands of them up there.
Yeah, and they are not digital effects, folks. Those are practical.
Yeah.
And
then
they've got
yeah.
and they've
He
got
actually-
him pinned
yeah.
against the wall.
Yeah.
And poor Tim sees this happening, and and Reggie's like, "Get out of here, Tim! It's over." And then all of a sudden, pops in the tall man 3.0.
Yeah.
And he's like, "It's never over." And of course, something pops out of a plate glass window that probably wasn't even there before and grabs poor Tim, and
Yeah.
bam, credits.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
like first
yeah.
film.
First two films, really.
Yeah.
That's the way. I guess I assume that's the way they always end. Is that? But this, yeah, the mirror isn't there before. It's like
No,
a
it's
different
not.
shot, and it cuts to like a different angle on Tim, and it's like there it is. It's like a portal window. Here, it's not a mirror like the first one. It's a window like the
Yeah.
second one.
I think we're supposed to believe that it is the storage area where the bodies were earlier, but no, the geography doesn't work out. But yeah, that's the one thing I don't like, actually. It's the only thing I don't like is the ending to this movie. It feels a little cheap, and it feels a little rushed, and it feels like Don Croskelly was running out of ideas, which he kind of was. He said as much. He originally wanted this movie to end with them taking the tall man's frozen sphere to Alaska in the middle of winter.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they were going to bury him in a glacier.
I read that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were going to put a tombstone over saying, "Here lies the tall man, R.I.P."
Yeah.
And as they were walking away, off into the sunset, Reggie will turn to Mike and say,
With Tim.
"Yeah, now all we have to do," and Tim is like, "Now all we got to worry about is global warming."
Yeah.
Yeah, that seemed like that was just a joke, dude.
They said that they shot it. I don't know, but I don't like that. I don't like that shit.
No, that seems like a joke. That does not seem like a natural progression from the story of this one.
It's funny. It's funny though.
Yeah, it seems like a joke.
I think the ending. I actually like the ending. I thought it matched the other films. I don't like the fact that Tim gets pulled into the mirror, and that's the last time we see him.
Yeah, that's what I really don't like.
Yeah, but I'd like it. I like it because that's the way that I think they all should end that way. I hope the other two do. You know.
Yeah. I will say nothing.
I will say that it probably ended that way because by this third film, Coscarelli, and this is just a theory, he probably could not rely on getting back. Number one, he couldn't rely that he would actually be able to make a fourth film, number one. Then number two is that even if he did make a fourth film, he probably couldn't rely on getting back the same actors to come back. And this is the easy way to write a character out, just like he did in the previous film with Liz.
Well, the issue with this actor playing Tim is
he's older.
He's going to be a lot older, probably. Yeah. Like the same thing happened with Mike while they were shooting the first film. You know, he became older, and then they had to kind of try to shoot around it. Happened in National Lampoon's Vacation too with Anthony Michael Hall. They had to do a reshoot, and when they came back, he did a growth spurt, and it was like a problem. Yeah. They had to kind of hide it.
So it's easy. I mean, it's the same way with why he gets rid of, in my opinion, why he gets rid of Rocky. Rocky leaves them, and then he gets rid of Tim that way. It's easy to write those characters out because they're not really the main characters. And he can just create new characters for another story if he got the new story. I don't think he really had a story after this one, but he definitely had one for the next film because he tried for years to get his version of that film made, and he had to make a truncated version, which was part four. So,
Well,
I mean, it does put him in a good place to start on the next one, just like he did on the first and the second one. It does put him in a good position to have a 6 minute opening sequence that takes place after that.
yeah.
yeah, I feel like this one, upon the rewatch, it used to be like my favorite of the sequels. I had so much fun watching this originally, but having rewatched it, I feel like it doesn't stand on its own as much as the SS2 does. And I feel like it really needs to go straight into four. I feel like four kind of gives this one a little bit more emotional pathos in the end. And I can't explain it any more than that, really. I feel like this one feels I guess I can say this. Like, this one this time around, three felt like it ended too abruptly. I kind of wanted it to go on a little more, and I wanted to see more Rocky, but I know I wasn't going to get that until way later. But like, I wish they had kind of done. I think I talked about this in Phantasm 2. Is like the part of the first half of Phantasm 2, where it's just Mike and Reggie going from town to town, feels almost like a compressed uh, pilot for a TV series of Phantasm,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I feel like this should have been that in a weird way. I feel like they should have had TV series where it was just Reggie and Rocky and Tim going around trying to find Mike and going from town to town fighting the tall
Yeah.
man and his minions for like they could have done that in syndication for like UPN or something. It wouldn't have been as gory, but they would still have pushed the envelope somehow. I mean, come on, look at what they were doing back in the 80s with the War of the Worlds series. That was graphic and disgusting for its time. They could have done something like that with a Phantasm series. But we just have to think of it in our brains and make our own little fan fiction. Because I mean, the problem not the problem, it's a feature, it's not a bug. But there's so many years between some of these movies. Although it does seem like this movie and two feel almost like they're the same year. It almost feels like it takes place over like 2 years at the most. But between like three and four, and definitely between four and five, there's a huge time gap.
Yeah.
So your mind is left to wonder what all was going on with Reggie a lot, usually just Reggie. But and all those years in between, what sort of wild adventures did he have? It's just it's fun.
I think one thing about it is that it gives you so much in this film, almost too much. It's a little overwhelming, but it's like they space it out in the other ones to make it so when you're watching this, it's like, wow, that was a lot. But it does remind me of something like, say, like when they even did like a Highlander show, and
Yeah.
same shit. But I don't. I think the show would have been a little bit of a drag after a while, unless they had like something to, because you just go from one mausoleum to another, and which I like that aspect of it. But to do it as a show that's like the Highlander show or whatever, it ends up being like the same bullshit over and over again.
It could have done
becomes
it
bullshit after a while.
I don't know if either one of you saw the original, the old school show, The Invaders. That's how I kind of saw they could do a show like this. It's like The Invaders.
Yeah, I saw The Invaders.
Yeah.
I like the World of Worlds show you mentioned too. I remember liking that pretty good when it first
I've
came
never
out.
seen that show, Dave.
That show scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
They melt and shit on that show. It was like I loved that when it came on. I hadn't seen it in forever, but
I haven't watched it. It's sitting back there, like the whole series is sitting on the DVD set. I haven't watched it yet.
Almost bought that
DVD. I've just never
but
seen it.
You should watch it, Kevin. The first season's the best. The other two are not good. Don't bother with them.
Yeah, it was pretty cool though when it came on. I mean, I don't know how well it holds up, but I was really on the edge of my seat with that. The season finale of the first season was really awesome. They killed off some of the main characters in the episode too.
Oh yeah, like the Martians can like possess people basically, and they have 3 arms, and one of them just bursts out of people's chests, like
yeah,
like the chest burster in Alien.
Yeah.
It's just
I even made a in art class I made like a climation of that. It kind of looked kind of weird because the arm just cutting down on someone's chest almost looks like a penis or whatever. But I thought I liked it that much. I actually was like modeling. I made a model out of it and shit, man. But it was that was cool though. The
uh,
Invaders. Who was in that?
I forgot that main dude's name.
Yeah, I think I don't think I never saw that, but I did notice someone famous was the main character. It was I'm trying to remember who it
David
was.
something.
That does sound familiar. David. Shit.
Shoot. The
Yeah,
Invaders. No, it's Roy Thinnis.
Roy
yeah,
Thinnis.
yeah.
Roy Thinnis.
Well, he's not really that famous, but he played
He was
Roger
back in
Collins.
there.
He played
He was
Roger
back-
Collins in the Dark Shadows remake for
Yeah.
the 1991. But yeah, that was
I
one. Yeah.
love that show. I've always loved that show.
And then they tried to reboot it with Scott Bakula.
Yeah.
Did they really?
Yeah, they did. I saw the pilot. It was not good.
I like Scott Bakula though.
Why? But I don't. Oh my god! I'm sure it's on Tubi. I'll go find it on Tubi. Everything fucking Tubi. But yeah, I mean, Dave, it's going to be real interesting to see your reaction or hear your reaction about Part 4, Oblivion. And there was 4 years between this film and that film, so and we all know that Coscarelli had like this film felt like Coscarelli was building up to like his final film, and then of course we all know that he had a script for a final film, but he couldn't get the budget for it, so he had to pare it down a lot, from what I've been told, and that's what we got with Oblivion, which kind of feels like a weird little like side film since it doesn't end the franchise there. And so it's going to be interesting the kind of, because I've always thought Oblivion is the slowest one of all of them, but it also has a lot of story and a lot of Mike in that one.
Well, that's kind of what we miss a little bit from this one is the slow burn. But I mean, I really like the pacing of it. It's like a breakneck pace, but we do lose some of the creepiness, and we lose like some like intentional character development. But I do recall trying to watch Part 4, and I had a really tough time with it the first time I tried to watch it, to the point that I didn't finish it. I maybe watched like half an hour of it, and I don't remember exactly what was going on with it.
I will say this. I can enjoy Part 3, this one, by itself with no problems. I can't watch Part 4 by itself. I have to have seen Part 3 and then watch Part 4. Part 4 is the only one in this franchise that really needs to watch Part 3 beforehand, in my opinion. That's my opinion, but I think that's because of the way Part 4 is kind of situated, because from my interpretation, it is like Coscarelli wasn't able to do the film he originally envisioned, so he set up this film to get him to that point, which never came until he handed off the reins to someone else to do Ravager.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this movie and 4 are so much in Congress with each other. Although, and also, let's face it, Part 4 is also in a very interesting way in Congress with Part 1. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But I feel like, as much as I do enjoy the bonkersness of this movie and how much more it adds and all the wonderful side characters that have become part of Phantasm lore, I feel like I don't know. So I need to pump in the 4th one and start it right as soon as possible.
So I will tell you this, because it just dawned on me, so I had to look this up just to make sure I wasn't talking out my ass. But the reason why I probably enjoyed this when I was younger and when I was a kid is because it came 2 years after Army of Darkness, which I fucking loved. And so that type of humor in a horror film I was really into. Like, I must have seen Army of Darkness 50 times within 2 years of it being made. I saw it that fucking many times. And then this movie came out.
Yeah, it's
and
awesome.
I've been waiting years for another Phantasm movie. And the humor in these two movies are so much the same that I didn't care that it wasn't really a horror film. I just watched this because it was so goddamn entertaining and balls to the walls bonkers. Both these movies are freaking bonkers, dude. They're bonkers. They're crazy. You either love these type of movies or you hate them. I don't think there's any in between, because these aren't true horror films. Army of Darkness and the Phantasm films, and this one especially, are not like typical horror films. They play up the comedy a lot, and this one
And,
just and the action. They
and
both
the
have a lot
action,
of action.
yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't go. It stays a little more grounded than Army of Darkness, I think, but
Oh, yeah.
it does have it does have some pretty heavy comedy beats in it. But Army of Darkness completely in some points just is like really goofy, like all of a sudden having a shotgun out of nowhere and you didn't have before and things like that. But
Well,
I love the film; it's great, but it's definitely like some of it's not very grounded.
there's
I
definitely
don't think
less
this is grounded either, Dave.
I mean, there's less Three Stooges stuff in this movie than there is in Army of Darkness.
But yeah, there's more.
Well, but I think that most of what happens makes you can like make somewhat of a I guess
Dave's trying to make it make sense.
argument for some things to at least like they somewhat make sense, even though it does become very um damn what's the word it does become very like ambiguous in some parts, but this one does try to actually ground the whole series more by explaining more about what's going on with it, gives you a lot more information about why, or not really why, but how things are happening.
There you go. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like Coscarelli's giving you the how and not any of the why. We're as clueless as to the why as poor Mike is when he's like getting telekinetically moved to the space station. He's like, why? Why do you want me? Tall man has no ants, tall man doesn't suffer that sort of inquiry.
So, okay. So, are there any other thoughts about this film, guys?
I don't have any right now because
I'm sure
we'll
you
talk
will
about
once
them on
you
the
watch.
next one.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
about to say once you watch part 4, you'll probably say, "Oh."
He'll be like, I don't know about this, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no matter what happens in the next two, the first two of this franchise, I think, are really some of the best horror films out there.
No, I will not disagree with you. I'm still a huge fan. I may not think it's the greatest franchise out there, but there's a lot of great things to be said. And this, like the Evil Dead and Army of Darkness films, are films that because of the way they ended, I was dying waiting for the next film to come out. Like I was dying waiting for the next film between Oblivion and Ravager in the years. It may have been a decade or two now, because it came out in '98, Oblivion, and I think Ravager came out like 4 years ago. So like 20 freaking years.
I think it was 2016 was it Ravager?
I can't remember
Let's see who can find it in IMDb first. I
I'm
bet
pretty
it's gonna
sure.
be me.
Yeah,
I bet it's gonna be me.
yeah,
Ravager came out. Whoops, wrong button. Ravager
2016.
came out.
You're right. 2016.
But it's like
2016.
18 years, dude.
By the way, that's 10 years ago, but it doesn't seem like it. Something happened to Tom in the last ever since 2020. Tom just got really jacked up.
I don't think it got a wide release in 2016. I think
No, it did not.
Yeah, it got it. I think it got it like a year or two later.
Yeah.
Is when it actually came. Because it had a really, really, really limited release.
Same year Angus Scrim passed away as well that year.
Yeah.
I
didn't even see Ravager until like just right after COVID.
Yeah. Actually, it's weird. I actually tried to watch Ravager too. I have a copy of it, but I didn't finish watching that one either for some reason.
Well, good, because now you can watch 4
Yeah.
all the way through, and then watch Ravager all the way through right after, and you'll have the entire weight of all that death sitting on your shoulders.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
All right. So, for everyone listening, I want to thank my special guests, Mr. Thomas Tenorella and Dave Watkins, for joining us on this conversation about Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. What we do is we love to rate the films. What we do is we rate it between 1 and 5, 1 being poor, 5 being amazing. But what we like to do is pull an object, quote, or saying from the film to attribute to our rating. So Dave, I'm gonna go with you first this time. What is your rating for this film, and what is the object, quote or saying, you're going to attribute to it?
So I'm gonna give it like 3.5 of I'm gonna go with the shotgun again because they played with it so much. The 4 barrel shotgun. And by the way, the shotgun is not as sawed off as it was in the second one. It's a little bit longer than before.
Oh,
Ooh.
I don't think
Did not notice that.
But
Yeah, but I say I
it,
don't think I
it,
noticed
it
that.
seemed like it seems like it works better too generally. But
I
they use
wouldn't
it
be
a lot.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. All the props from the Universal movie, the second one, probably got held up in storage, and they couldn't reuse or use anything from that movie.
But yeah, I mean, I give it 3.5 stars. I gave the second one 4 stars. I'd give the first one 4.5. But I like all of them pretty good though. But this one's that like we talked about, it does seem like a little cheaper, but it's a lot more effects in it.
Hmm.
But it doesn't seem as the atmosphere is not quite like it was. But it does kind of become a little cartoony. But it never like lets up on the pacing, and it's when you're watching the film. For me, I mean, I had a lot of fun with it. Every time I've seen this film, I've actually thought it was a lot of fun.
Okay. What about you,
Mhm.
Thomas?
Yeah. Well, I said before that I used to think this was the best of all the sequels, but on this rewatch, yeah, I guess like you, Kevin, I started seeing the seams a little bit more. For me, and we didn't really talk about this while we're in it because we were having so much fun. I didn't want to, I didn't want to bring the room down any at all. But I feel like the performances, the flatness and stiltedness of some of the acting came out for me a little bit more on this rewatch, especially as much as I love Rocky so much. I
Yeah.
feel like she's the worst. She's the worst actress in this movie, easily. I'm sorry. Gloria, if you're out there listening, I'm sorry. But the third act, and also the third act of this, I felt like, as much as I love it and all the bonkersness of it, I feel like since I've rewatched two this year again, I don't I I did not have as big as exhilarating a feeling watching the third act of this as I did the third act of Phantasm 2.
Mm.
If that makes any sense. I feel like two's
Yeah,
third
yeah,
act
yeah.
is more exuberant in a weird way. Which
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
it's funny because like more happens in this.
I think
And yet
it's the pacing. I think though,
I think
because
it's
this one
amazing
this
too.
one never stops. The other one has some moments where I mean, obviously there's the goofy almost sex scene in this, but most of the time though, this one's like go go go. Where that one had some character beats in it.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's exactly the problem with the film. Like I said, I used to have a lot of fun with this film, but rewatching it, yeah, you're right. I did pick out some little things. Because I was gonna give it 3.5. Uh, dead dwarf zombies falling out of a tree. Um,
Thomas never rated it, by the way.
No, I didn't. Thank you, Kevin,
But
for showing your cards, so I know not to
but
use
that's good. So
those.
you're not gonna use mine this time. You're not
No,
gonna.
I
he
won't.
got you. You're definitely going to use that shit too.
No, instead, no. I was just gonna say that. I was just saying that. But one good thing this has over on is that it's not just a retread of part two.
No.
So it does do its own thing,
Hmm.
and I love how Mike's journey into a Timu tall man makes this stand out, and those three crazy zombies, and also Rocky and her nunchucks. So I'm gonna give this movie 4 nunchucks out of 5.
That's good. You could have picked Rocky's nipples too, though.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Dave, I'm not like you. I'm not like you in that regard.
I'm just saying I didn't say I didn't pick her nipples. I'm just saying you could have. It was another option.
He says you should have picked it. You
Yeah,
should.
you could have been like, I could have picked Rocky's nipples, but what I want to use.
He has 4 nipples. Yeah, I'm gonna give it 4 Rocky nipples. That's what.
Which would be 2 Rockies.
No, you have Tanisha then. Tanisha and Rocky
Oh, there you
together.
go.
Yeah. I think her name was Anita, actually.
I just have it written out as Tanisha from the credits, dude.
I thought it was Anita, but
No, it's Tanisha.
Tanisha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and that's her name in the book too. So
Yeah. I don't
They,
know why I thought it was
yeah, they
Anita.
say her name once. I think when she's calling out
Yeah.
yeah.
For some reason I thought they said Anita, but they probably Tanisha sounds like Anita a little bit. So
I need a man to hug and kiss.
yeah.
All right,
But
so, go ahead,
yeah.
Dave.
Now when they showed up though, I was like, damn, they are lovers. That was my first thing. Like those two, I'm like, they're not friends. That's a couple right there, you
They're
know?
even wearing the same army
Yeah,
outfits.
yeah. I mean, it was like
So I'm just gonna say that maybe I was a little bit more naive in 1994 when I first saw the movie than I am now when I rewatched the movie and I can say, "Oh shit, that's more obvious," which is why I said, "Oh, it makes much more sense after you tell me that's how they were in the book." I was like, because you get no sense of that really, because she doesn't mention that shit, but yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
They kind of remind me of some like Walking Dead, the way people in Walking Dead act, you know, when they show up and they meet new people in Walking Dead, that's the way they always act.
Hmm.
Like the way that they're acting, you know, when they run into them. But are you saying you were going to give it 3.5 or 4, Kevin, on yours?
3.5, no, 3.5 dead zombie dwarfs falling out of a tree.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. It would have been 4 had before this recent watch. It's been a while since I've seen part 3 and part 4. Um so if the Ravager came out in 2016 and I'm thinking 2018 is probably when it came out on Blu-ray. That was the last time I saw it because I upgraded my versions to the Blu-ray copies. So that would be the last time I saw it because I saw them together. But I did not watch the entire franchise over when I bought them. So I just watched 3 and 4. So, but, you know, but yeah,
Don't worry, Kevin. My other options were 4 flying knife clowns or 4 pink hearses. So I don't think I would have been able to tread on you anyway.
no, I was gonna say the frisbee. My other one would have been the frisbee. I
yeah.
was
The
hoping,
frisbee
yeah.
was cool. Yeah,
So, all right.
Have you guys seen Hard Ticket to Hawaii? Did you get that reference?
Huh?
When I said when he uses that frisbee, I like he hard ticket to Hawaii's him. Do you
I
get
hadn't
that
seen it.
reference?
Yeah, I hadn't seen it.
Dave
Yeah.
gets it. Dave gets
No,
it. Do
I
you
don't.
get
I
it,
don't. I
Kevin?
hadn't. No. I hadn't seen that Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
No, I haven't either.
It's a David Sedaris movie who was like a big like action softcore director back in the late 90s, early 80s, or late 80s, early 90s. And apparently his most famous movie is this movie called Hard Ticket to Hawaii,
It's a cool
which
name. It's a cool name, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
the title makes no sense. But anyway, it has something to do with buxom cops in Hawaii trying to solve a murder. And there's also an escaped snake that gets up a toilet and tries to kill people. It's very strange. And they blow it up with a bazooka. But people know it because it was on the How Did This Get Made podcast not too long ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is a scene where a guy gets revenge on some Molokai cops. He kills one of the bad guys by it's not even one of the main bad guys. It's like a henchman with an Uzi on a beach, and he pretends like he gets him to play frisbee with him, and then he switches the frisbee with a frisbee that's got razor blades on it and throws it to the guy and slices his throat with it.
Jeez. Yeah. So it is very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 1987 Hard Ticket to Hawaii. So they came out before this.
Yeah, I think Coscarelli probably liked that movie.
Yeah.
No, because everybody's thinking about that, dude. Frisbees with razor blades in them. Everybody's got that idea, dude. Everybody.
At first I thought maybe. Well, at first I thought maybe he was ripping off that famous scene in Road Warrior where they were, but then I realized, wait a minute, that wasn't a frisbee. When the feral kid throws the thing and it cuts off that one guy's fingertips. No, that was a boomerang. That was a
Yeah.
bladed boomerang. So I was like, oh, okay. It wasn't that. Huh.
Well, it could have been that. I mean, it's just a little adjustment, you know. Turn the frisbee pink and nobody will know.
Well, if I ever see Don Coscarelli at a Dragon Con or a Horror Con or something, that is the first thing I will burn my one chance to ask
Yeah.
Coscarelli
Oh,
anything.
he's gonna love it when you say, where did you rip off the frisbee from Phantasm 3?
Well, yeah. Oh Jesus! Let's not get into that too much. We still got 2 more movies to go with Coscarelli, at least right now. With that, I do hope that everyone who's listening have a fun time listening to us talk about Phantasm 3: Lord of the Dead. I almost forgot what the
Lord
title.
of the Rings.
Lord of the
Phantasm 3, Lord of the Rings.
Please make sure to check out the other episodes on the other films in this franchise that are all being released today. Don't forget, this is our franchise month, so we are highlighting some amazing franchises this month. Check out those episodes. You're going to have a blast this month during August, checking out all these great episodes on different franchises. Please make sure to like, follow, share, subscribe. Do that thing you do with your favorite podcast or your favorite podcast apps, Spotify and YouTube. And don't forget to also check out our companion series, Conversations in Hammer Studio Horrors, which is released every first and third Friday of the month. From all of us here at Something Wicked Entertainment, we want to wish you a pleasant visit to the mortuary.
We'll keep in touch, Rich.
Conversations in Horror is a Broken Lighthouse Pictures production, written, produced, and directed by Kevin L. Powers, executive producer Kelly A. Inoka. All contents and material from this episode of Conversations in Horror is copyright 2025 Broken Lighthouse Pictures.